What is up, RotoGrinders? 12-game slate, big boy slate. It was going to be a bigger boy slate, but we lost Baltimore. Baltimore got shifted to the afternoon. They made a last-second switcheroo, I guess in the middle of the night. We knew it. The sites are on top of it. They kicked Baltimore off the slate. Was 13 games. Still a big boy slate here on a Friday, on a Film Friday. I see J3 in chat who's requesting Film Friday. And Dean, well, here you go. It's your lucky day. You also get, you didn't even ask for it, you get Chop. What's up, Chop? How are things? Happy Friday.
Whoa.
We dropping stuff?
Let me get my mic right here. I forgot I had my mic pushed to the side.
This is why we do the mic check, Chop. This is the whole point.
Yeah, I was tight. It gets in the way of typing sometimes, and I'm trying to figure some things out, Dean. What's up, big dog?
What's going on?
We had Memorial Day off, so I didn't do my typical Monday show. So it's been a while. So
it has been a while. Yeah, you're right. We usually do we kind of bookend the week, typically Mondays and Fridays. Well, you know what? I had a show on Monday. I guess you're like, there's no chance. I'm not rolling out of bed or you're grilling out around what you're doing.
I didn't even get asked. I'd love to do morning shows, man.
Okay.
Dean. Like trust me. I'm not like you, bro. I'm not sleeping till 1 in the afternoon.
That's old Dean. That's not me anymore. We've turned over that new leaf. We're up way too early these days by my standards, but not that I'm complaining about it, but that's where we're at. Yeah, I'm up there. Probably not with you, Chop, because you got kids and the whole deal. But 9:30, that's pretty early that's early for me, man.
Ooh, yeah, early bird worm, bro.
Well, I'm up late too. I had to finish the rehearsal last night. Finally knocked that out. Just the most ambitious television show of all time, quite possibly. I usually go to bed around 3-ish, depending on. So kind of a night owl. But yeah. You're up at what, 8 o'clock? What time are you up, Chop?
Oh no, before then. But I go to bed I try to go to bed by midnight. I try to get to bed by midnight,
Sure.
But sometimes it don't work. Sometimes I like to stay up and watch the end of the games. But I just recently knocked out the end of Suits, the reboot. That was a rough.
It was already canceled, by the way. I guess it wasn't successful.
That was a rough watch. I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of glad they canceled that sucker. Although it finally got good the last couple episodes when Louis Litt popped back up.
I don't know the show, for the record.
Oh, you don't know the show?
Yeah,
oh.
I don't know.
The first.
I never got into those USA shows.
It was really good. You didn't watch.
I watched the Robot one, like the first season.
Just the one season there.
Mr. Robot?
Mr. Robot, just one season. That was a really intriguing show.
It was interesting. I don't know why I didn't revisit it. It's just, there's so many things. But,
it's really complicated. That's a really complicated. But Suits, that was a good show. USA's got some good shows. Suits, the original was really good.
Monk?
Reboot was terrible.
Didn't watch Monk either.
No, I didn't watch that. But so now, Dean, no spoilers, please, guys, no spoilers. Yeah. I don't even know if I should say. I don't even want to say it. Never mind. I don't trust the chat sometimes, man.
They're gonna spoil something in chat for
you. Drop something. But I've just started a new show, or the new season to a show I've watched for a while now. The new season recently came out, but I've been waiting. So,
The Last of Us, The Bear.
I already seen the Last of Us. You watch. That's kind of the week. You gotta watch that by the week. The Last of HBO shows.
I gotta get on that too.
HBO shows you just kind of gotta watch on like Sunday nights after they come out on the app. You can't really wait because you will get spoiled on those. The new Bear's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty quick. And I feel like we just watched the third season of The Bear. Not that I'm complaining, but I could have gone for another few weeks or so without seeing it. But and probably the weakest season 3. I think most would agree.
I will say. What's today? Oh, about a week from now, we got the new season of BMF. I know you're not into.
That's the Stars show.
Yeah. Speaking of Stars, Dean, STARZ, the app and the show. Tonight, I'll be watching my movie night. Friday movie night is from Stars.
Yeah, that's inspiring today's tiers. We're going to talk about later on. By the way, the worst of the apps. Is that fair to say? If you're going to power rank the apps. I think Stars is last because they have so few things. I had it like once, like a trial period. It's like this is all the movies you got. Like these 5 movies. This is it.
Let me tell you something about Stars. Well, let TJ chime in here.
I was gonna say that's one of the best parts about streaming services in Canada is we don't have a whole bunch of them, but Peacock, Paramount, Stars are all Prime Video. And so like
Canada.
Prime Video is my favorite of all the streaming services.
Just Prime Video
encapsulates all of them.
So do you have to pay for them on Prime in Canada?
Some of them, I feel like our Prime subscription is like $15 to $18 a month with a couple extra ones, but I think it starts at like $79.99, then or $7.99, then you can add.
Because all those apps like that, I get them for free, but I can't do it through one singular thing like Prime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm part of a college football recruiting site that I love to. But with that comes Paramount Plus, you know, and then and I've got my Spectrum internet, and with that comes Stars. So I can't do it all through one single thing, and that kind of sucks. But $1 million idea, Dean, and I've said this before: whatever app or service can figure out a way to be a singular app that has the ability to look at all your viewing stuff from all your other apps and put all your favorite shows into the one app right there. Not all the, just everything right there for you. So when something new comes out, you don't miss like, oh, this is coming out here in 2 weeks. And you just put it all. And then for like throughout the week, you can just watch that. But Stars is more.
I think you just invented cable, by the way. I think that's cable you just invented.
No. Cable does not look at your apps, Dean.
I sort of, I know. I'm just
cable does not look at your Netflix and say, "Well, I like these particular shows from Netflix and these particular shows from Amazon Prime and all that." But as far as Stars, you say you didn't like it. Yeah, the selection is a little limited, but it has a particular genre. It goes for, and it has a particular crowd it's going for. And I kind of like BMF and I like the Ghost and Ghost shows and Tommy Egan and although those are I like that stuff. So
you like it? That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm on board with
it. Cam, by the way, in chat saying saw you take down a single entry tournament about a week and a half ago. Shout out to you, Chop. Did you tweet this out? Because you didn't tweet it out. It never happened. Did this actually happen?
Well, then it never happened, Dean. Let's just put it like that. Let's just act like it never happened because I don't care.
You got to know the rules, man. Brandon Lavoie not playing today, left on left, so not terribly surprising. He's been on fire of late. A lot of lineups have already dropped. Weird slate, Chop. I think it's kind of a weird slate. Nothing I love. I'm curious to get your take. There's nothing I love in this slate. There's a lot of stuff I like. I like that. I like this. Sure, I like that. Is there anything I feel like I have to have? Not at all. It's a 12-gamer. I could be selective. I don't think there's one pitcher I have to have. There's like 4 that I really like. I probably want to get 2 of those 4 if I can get 2 of those 4. I'm curious to get your take. There's no amazing weather spot. There's no amazing ballpark. A lot of the good offenses aren't bad ballparks, actually. 2 of the best teams in baseball, Yankees and Dodgers, are facing each other. It's kind of a weird slate. We do have some of the better pitchers facing some bad offenses. Nick Pivetta taking on the Pirates, who are horrendous. The Rockies, who are just especially terrible on the road in New York. One of the bigger downgrades you can get in all of baseball, taking on David Peterson. They're like minus what? Peterson's like a minus 340 favorite, give or take. There's it's nothing really where I'm like, man, I gotta play this. I'm curious where you're at on that and how you see the slate overall.
I could say that about the pitching. There's certainly nothing I love about the pitching. I like some guys and I hate some other guys. The pitching is like that. For the hitting, I kind of find myself like feeling pretty good about. I mean, there's a lot of options. Of course, there would be. Even when you lose a game, you still have 24 teams and some marginal pitching. You're going to have a lot of good offenses out there. There's so much to choose from on the offensive side. So, yeah, I definitely like some of those, like plenty of hitters. But, I feel pretty decent about this. So hopefully this is one where, we can dial in. I think I feel more comfortable in the single entry stuff tonight because in the large field, man, that's going to be tough to win those on this kind of a slate. There's just so much offense.
It's always tough.
It could. Well, I mean, I find even in the large field, if we knock it down to like 6 teams or a certain subset of pitching or hitting against versus certain pitchers, that you can narrow some fields down tonight. How do you narrow any of this down? Like, so I'll stick to single entry tonight and hopefully do some good.
I just went ahead and dropped a Ross weather report of note. One of my favorite pitchers tonight is in New York. It's officially yellow there. Not freaking out just yet, but do want to mention a few showers around, but they'll want to play through it as best as possible so that they can play ball before the main line of storms comes and moves in. So I guess that means there's something lurking later on, maybe around 10 o'clock or so. And any delay would be trouble. But again, Roth will speak to that. He'll be on about an hour or so if anything changes. Yellow in Cleveland. We do have the Angels bringing back Mike Trout tonight. Mike Trout is back in our lives. He's pretty cheap on FanDuel. DK, they wanted to pay the iron price. I think he's $5K over there, but I think he's 3-2. I want to say 3-2 on FanDuel, which is pretty good. It's green, yellow in Atlanta. A lot of times there's that spotty pop-up stuff in Atlanta, so nothing terribly concerning. And maybe, I guess, Grant Holmes might be in your pool, possibly, but I imagine nobody's rostering whatever's left of Lucas Giolito. Do want to say what's up to the chat. Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Do all those things. Help us keep the lights on. The chat's telling us that somebody I don't think got access to your BBP model. Of course, we have the BBP suggestion of the day. We got the knockers coming up. We're going to rank some tiers. Do all that before we hand it off about an hour or so to Crunch Time, Dave Potts, BeerMakersFan, Kevin Roth. They're saying Matt Olson BBP. Actually, I'm aware of that because I was just curious. I know I was digging into that stuff, and I think, yes, well, you know this. Who I can't tell you. You have the model. 4 homers and like 13 at-bats versus Giolito, despite the fact Giolito's kind of a reverse splitsy throughout his career. But Olson doesn't care.
I guess I have to go to my second option now because you guys are already giving it away.
Did I spoil it?
You spoiled it now, man. Can't do nothing about it now. But, I mean, now obviously that one was the one that jumped out, so no big deal.
So, I don't want to spoil this. It's a Film Friday, Chop. Film Friday. Let's go ahead and drop that first clue for the people. The first clue. Oh, you guys know how this works. If you played Television Tuesday, if you love it, you'll like Film Friday. Same deal with Movie Monday, Fleet Thursday. Just get in the Discord. Tell me what film I am talking about. One clue, maybe 10, 15 minutes, depending on. We'll drop another one soon enough. But the first clue is scrolling right now. The first clue is bar. Bar is the first clue. Be the first person to tell me what the name of this film is. One guess per clue drop. There's no spamming the chat, MME, none of that. So you can do that in your DraftKings or FanDuel account, but not in the Discord. That's only where our legit answers will be pulled. Feel free to get your reps in on YouTube, but that's all it is. Just practice. And Chop, of course, you're playing on the side. Bar is our first clue. Anything else? It is not Catch Me If You Can, but that is a good guess, Chop. Good guess. That is a good guess. I see what you're doing there. Good movie, by the way. Underrated. Anything else you want to mention before we fully dive in as far as the slates? I saw Bobby hanging out in chat. What was he chirping about? So I was going to make a comment. Yeah, he says Chop's definitely a USA Channel guy, which I don't know if that's like an insult or not. And he's also calling me out for playing video games at 4 a.m. That does happen on occasion. I get a little Rocket League in end of the night sometimes. I don't know. If you're ever playing Rocket League like at 3 o'clock in the morning, you might be playing against me, Chop. That seems unlikely. And little NCAA football, having fun with that as well. We dabble around. Anything else you got here, Chop, as far as an overview, a screenshot when it comes to the slate? Or you want to dive in and talk about the pitchers where, it's, I guess it's 4 guys in the bucket. I think it's 4 guys in the bucket. You tell me. The main bucket, the first bucket.
Man, Bobby Gomes is on fire here, man. He's breathing dragon down everybody's neck here, man.
He's fired up.
He's saying you're 50. You shouldn't be playing video games.
Well, I mean, if I was 50, theoretically, why can't I play video games? Is there do I have to put
forever young?
Somebody else's ID?
Stay young at heart, man.
What are the rules, Bobby? When do I have to stop? When do I have to turn my joystick in? My controller.
Goodness gracious. Bobby's on a rampage. Pitchers. I don't know. Who are you? You said there's a 4-man bucket?
I think so.
Okay, you tell me the 4 you think are in that bucket.
Wu at home versus Minnesota. Pivetta at home versus Pittsburgh. David Peterson taking on Colorado. Colorado is digging into them. Like, their numbers in the road, they're the worst team in all of baseball. he doesn't give up a lot of home runs. The ballpark doesn't give up homers. It feels like a not a good chance Colorado hits a homer. So maybe some BABIP stuff gets to him. He's also the biggest favorite in the board. We don't necessarily need those win points, but I'll take those win points. Give me those 4 points. I guess I should probably throw the Hound in there, Chris Bassett, revenge game against the Athletics. I guess you want to throw him in there, you can. I'm not going to fight you. And then your guy, Framber Valdez, just the quality start machine, taking on Tampa, ballpark downgrade for them, jumping out of St. Petersburg. And I guess Luis Ortiz is the cheapie. He's 6K on DK. I think he's the best cheapie on the board. I don't know how much I need it. If you want to pay up to be different, I suppose it's Max Fried, who you could argue might be the most talented pitcher on the slate, but you can very easily just avoid the Dodgers. Like, he's not the kind of guy that's going to compile 11 strikeouts or 10 strikeouts and break the slate. That's not who he is. He's probably going to have a quality start, but I don't see him separating, from Wu, Pivetta, Peterson, Valdez. So, but ownership-wise, like he's not going to be owned. But that's kind of the way I see it. Zebby Matthews is another cheapie. The problem with him is like pitch count. Minnesota babies their guys. He's been babied like always. I like the skill set in Liberatore. I'm not picking on him. And you want to attack Texas these days because they've been horrendous. Kyle Harrison's another guy. I'm afraid he doesn't go deep enough, but against the Marlins, he's interesting. One-time, big-time prospect. Mostly worked out of the pen. He's in the starting the rotation now with the absence of Verlander. I just don't know how much they need that salary. I got Zebby over Harrison, but those are like the cheapies. And Ortiz is probably the best, especially on DK where he's 6K. But for me, I'm going to be almost definitely, I don't like to be speaking in definitives, Wu, Peralta, Peterson, Valdez, 2 of those 4, I think. I'm fine with Bassett as well. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you pretty much just summed up my pitching. We can move on to hitting now. You're stealing all of my thunder today.
You asked me the question. You told me, what do I think? And I gave it to you.
Okay.
Normally, I'm the one asking questions. You asked me, you threw it back at me, and I answered.
So, okay. Got to like Pivetta against Pittsburgh. Gotta go with that one, sure. Brian Wu seemingly has somehow, and probably small sample stuff, but for up until this year, he was ahead some really bad splits, and that was kind of always something that stood out against him. He had a hard time against left-handers, but he's corrected that this year. He looks really awesome coming out this year. He looks like a legit number 1 or number 2 guy in a rotation. So you got that at home, like that against Minnesota. Kind of a weekend lineup out there. You mentioned Framber. Yeah, I love getting Tampa not only away from home, which is a pretty hitter-friendly ballpark out there. You get them into a pretty neutral spot here. But then you take probably their best hitter out of the lineup because of the lefty-on-lefty thing. You don't even have to contend with Lau now. So I think that's a big-time bonus for Framber, who's pitching really good. And he's going to be streaky, and right now he's in a good streak. And then you mentioned the David Peterson thing is, I mean, we were attacking Colorado's offense away from court, even in court. It's so bad that we're starting pitchers in Coors Field now against them. We never used to do that. Away from Coors Field, it's just an absolute layup most of the time for any kind of average to above average pitcher, and Peterson is certainly one of those guys. So you got that going for you. Those guys, coincidentally, those 4 guys have the four lowest implied team totals against them. So you got that going for you. One guy we didn't talk about that doesn't have a low team total against him, but could make a case for being the best pitcher on the slate if everything was neutral, is Max Fried. Like, he's a legit ace, a legit stud star pitcher who everybody is afraid of this matchup. And Vegas is saying 4.3, roughly 4.3 implied team total against him. That scares people off. The matchup scares people off. Yeah, I'm not really. I don't know. In one with my one lineup, will I play Max Fried? I probably don't get to Max Fried in GPPs. 100% Max Fried should be on the table. He's had a tough match. He just faced the Mets 2 starts ago. Shut him down real nice, like 8 Ks, 2 earned runs. He's faced this Dodgers team before. Recently, he's from he's from the National League, so he's got plenty of looks against him here recently, and he's faced a lot of these batters before, and he's done really well against them. He's in good form right now, so Max Fried should be on the table in GPPs, that's for certain. You mentioned Luis Ortiz, the barrel scraper. Man, you gotta like that salary on him. He's got some K upside. He's got a decent matchup, although it's a little bit better lineup now. It's starting
Trout's
to come
back, yeah. And Neto's like legit good.
Who's that?
Neto is legit like a good
he's
baseball
good,
player.
and Taylor Ward is hot, kind of hot. So with a Trout back, it's a decent lineup. But Ortiz does flash a little bit of K upside, so and the cheap price tag. I mean, there's other guys out there too that we didn't talk. We didn't talk about Pepio against a right-handed Astros lineup. You know, you could go that route. I'm not going to play this guy, but Soriano. The Cleveland matchup these days is pretty good, and Soriano's a pretty solid pitcher.
A lot of ground balls.
Yeah, won't get roughed up by the home run, and just needs to find some strikeout upside. You mentioned Matthews, Bassett. You kind of mentioned in passing. So, Casey Mize we didn't talk about. He's a solid pitcher in a good matchup these days. Casey does not hit the cover off the ball. That's for sure. That ballpark definitely contains home runs too. So Mize has a little K upside in him.
Not a lot of strikeouts though, Chop. 19.8% as far as the Ks that can't see a lineup collectively. They're contact heavy, but like you said, they're not very deep outside of, Wits. You got Fettuccine Friday, Vinny Pasquantino, Pasquatch. But they're not patient, and but they will not strike out a heck of a lot. So I saw somebody in chat mention him. I also saw somebody in chat, Isaiah, asking about Lamont Wade as a one-off. He's not playing, right? I thought he was not in the lineup. So
he's not in the lineup.
So definitely.
Lamont, you big dummy.
What's that?
You don't know where that's from?
I don't know.
Gracious.
I want to guess Friday, but I don't know.
Chat knows. Lamont, you big dummy.
I don't know.
Come on, man. The chat knows.
I need more. Give me. We should have a verbal clue, like 5 different quotes.
Michael Roundtree got it.
What is that from? From Sanford and Son? Is that what? That's
you never seen a Sanford and Son episode?
Oh no, yeah, I know, yeah. Elizabeth, yeah. Every single episode.
Elizabeth.
Yeah. I did.
R.I.P. Red Fox, man.
I mean, that was like 20 years ago, but sure. I don't know when the statute limitations are up on that, but one of the best theme songs in all television history, right? Is that fair to say? Right? Yeah. I don't know if we get copyright stricken, but yeah,
we'll be all right.
It's spectacular theme song. But I saw a clip of Michael from Breaking Bad, Mike from Breaking Bad, and like when he had like hair, and like he did things before Breaking Bad I wasn't aware of. He was on Sanford and Son. I found that I don't know how I wandered into it, but it was just weird to see him acting in something else. Anyways, getting a little bit distracted. Let's get the second clue today for Film Friday because we've had no winners just yet. I don't think. No, it's not 3 Men and a Baby or From Dusk Till Dawn or Old School or The Big Lebowski or Legally Blonde or Crazy Heart, which is a good movie nobody ever talks about. That is a good movie. Second clue, Chop, is let's give it to the people. It's Wish. So Bar and Wish. That is our first 2 clues for the people. Get in the Discord. Get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. Anything else we want to mention here as far as pitchers? You kind of you're saying it sounds like you're saying you're making one lineup. Are you playing Fried in that one lineup? Because I hear you. Nobody's playing him like single entry. Like that's just not happening. 2% or something.
I mean, I won't say no because I haven't put together a lineup, but I mean, yeah. I like the bucket guys and I like Luis Ortiz. So it'd be hard to not go with 2 of those guys. But certainly, if I'm looking at it at the end, and I'm on my last, and I look at my lineup and it's got everybody in there and it's looking good, and I've got, let's say, Nick Pivetta in there, but I've got 500 left over. I could upgrade to Freeze. Do I do that? I think I might consider that just based on the ownership and his upside and everything. So maybe.
Well, what about this? Let's say he's the latest game of the night. Like if you're looking to, like your hitters didn't do exceptional or you're not in a great spot, is there a pitcher, like say you have Framber, that's 8-10. I'm just trying to think of a pitcher you can pivot off of. Pivetta. If like say you have Pivetta, like you're waiting with him and your lineup's not perfect, that's definitely a way to be different. Pavetta or Wu and somehow transition him into Freed if you have the salary, makes the salary work. I'm just sort of thinking like playing results. Does that make sense, Chop?
Sure, spitballing.
Yeah. And again, you have to the salary and maybe all your hitters are tied up and, you can't do it. By Red Fox, 1991. So it's been a long, yeah. And it was
he died in 91?
Yeah.
Really? Dang.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like 35 years ago. Yeah. I said 20. I wasn't sure exactly, but yeah, he's been gone for a while. All right. Anything else we should say as far as pitchers, or shall we move on to talk about our stacks? Because we got a whole bunch of them, Chop. We got a whole bunch. We have 24 teams to throw in some tiers. Let's see. Coyote Ugly being guessed, and the Emoji Movie, which you probably your kids aren't young enough. You probably didn't have to see that. I'm guessing if your kids are young enough, you probably had to watch the Emoji Movie.
I didn't see that.
13 going on 30. Some guesses coming in here. Big. A Star is Born. Barbarella. Kazam. I'm sure you're a big Kazam guy.
Oh, terrible.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, keep firing off those guesses in the live stream chat. We'll go ahead and drop. Oh, you guessed Big as well. Several people guessed Big. Okay. Let's want to get to our tiers? Tier time, right?
Tier time.
So tell the people what inspired. We kind of teased it, and you put a spin on it today. I don't really know what the names are going to be. You got a little more creative than we typically are, but tell the people what today's tiers are.
So, my movie night tonight, Dean. One was sit down and watch and enjoy with my movie treats and everything. Friday night is on Stars, the Stars app. It's Flight Risk. It just got released recently with Mark Wahlberg. Flight Risk. Now, it doesn't get very good ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's okay. It's Mark Wahlberg. It's a new release. I'm down with it. So I'm going for a little Flight Risk featuring Mark Wahlberg. Now, so we were going to center this thing around Mark Wahlberg movies. Well, let's just get a little bit different because we do movies a lot. So let's just do Mark Wahlberg characters, right, from this different various settings. So just to spice it up a little, it's basically the same thing, but just a little bit different. So
I haven't seen the board, Chop, but Dirk Diggler's got to be one, right? There's no way it's not one.
Man.
It's got to be one.
I tried, but Dean, again, like we've always said, we've always said this, Dean. Like you can't have
for Dirk.
You can't have. I forget who I put up there that bumped.
I can't imagine.
Dirk Diggler. Oh, you know what? I do. No, Dean. No. Pull up the board. I do have him, but I don't have it in the form of Dirk Diggler.
Oh, you don't. You have his actual. Okay, you have his not. Okay, I see. It's not his.
I put Eddie Adams.
Yeah, nobody knows Eddie Adams.
Okay, that's Dirk Diggler. TJ, my bad. I'd probably drop the ball on that one. But no. Let's keep it like this because I like Eddie Adams as a character. We're doing characters here, Dean. Characters. Yeah. I like Eddie Adams, the character. If you like Dirk Diggler's material, then that's on you, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. To each his own.
It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yes, it is. I'm more of an Eddie Adams guy. I thought Eddie Adams, away from the camera, there was a pretty good character. But
or Chester Rockwell.
But that's definitely from the Boogie Nights. The number one character I thought he ever portrayed, Marky Mark, man. That was a character for him.
The singer was a character.
Yeah.
But that was not in the movie, right? That was just
we didn't limit this to movies. We just said greatest Mark characters. So I thought, what the heck? But it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like Marky Mark was the best he's ever been. Like that's probably my favorite Mark Wahlberg character. Was him singing and dancing. The Good Vibration. Who didn't jam to that one? What
was the second best song? That was the one that I know. I can't think of anything else. Did he have another song or not?
It was probably for that song from Boogie Nights that he's singing in the booth with John C. Reilly. I don't know. So we got the Boogie Nights
demo tracks.
Yeah, the Boogie Nights thing is would be next on the list. Yeah, Dirk Diggler / Eddie Adams, whatever you want to go for that there. The next one is from Daddy's Home.
Okay.
Daddy, I don't know, just a neutral because he did the spinoff too. He's got it's Dusty, I believe was his name, and he was two totally different characters in the two movies. So we'll go that route. Number 4, I forget, but I can't see the board because we got this thing.
Father Stu, which I think he played.
Oh, yeah, Father Stu. I didn't particularly care for that one too much, man. Mark Wahlberg as a priest who's got a disease.
Spoilers, John.
To each his own. Yeah. Well, I didn't say he died or anything. I just say he had a priest who had a disease.
That's
everybody knows that's with them. And then dead last, I can't even.
Jim Bennett from The Gambler.
Oh, The Gambler. I did not like that at all from Mark Wahlberg. I did not like Mark trying to be all serious like that, and especially that particular movie that just everything about him, and I didn't like that one. So bottom tier, but yeah, there's all kinds of. Ted was a good movie. Butthole Ted was a great movie.
Yeah.
But you can't put everybody on the board here, man.
I was lobbying for, before you did the old switcheroo on the win with characters. I think you were asking me like some of my favorites Mark Wahlberg movies. The Other Guys, Ted. The Happening is one of the worst. Have you ever seen The Happening?
Detective Terry Hoyt should be number 1. That is quite literally the best acting he's ever done.
Is that The Other Guys? What is that?
Yeah, that's The Other Guys.
Okay. Yeah, The Other Guys was pretty fun. And it's got a fun surprise in it, too. Like, if you've never seen it before. A couple fun surprises, actually.
We've had this conversation about The Happening before. I kind of like that movie.
Yeah. Maybe you have to see it again. I'm hit and miss with the M. Night, but The Happening didn't work for me.
I liked it. I thought it kind of topical, even for today. Like,
I don't remember it very well. I just remember not liking it. But maybe I'll give it a revisit. Maybe I might have missed something the first time around. All right. Anybody else in chat throwing out any other Lone Survivor? I've not seen that. Yeah.
Ooh, dang. Chef Nikia. Yeah, that's a good one right there. Marcus from Two Guns is one of my favorites.
With Denzel?
2 Guns with Denzel, yeah.
Yeah.
What an awesome
time. I know I saw it.
What?
I just haven't seen that movie like in forever, but I remember seeing it. And thinking it was pretty good. Nobody talks about that movie.
Goodness gracious, I've seen that thing like 100 times.
All right. Taking a peek here in the live stream chat. No winners just yet, but there are a lot of guesses going up there. Let's give the people 4 brothers. Wasn't it 3 brothers? How many brothers was that in that movie that he was in? Was it 4 brothers? Am I missing?
He had 4 brothers. Yes. Okay. It was Tyrese. He was the dude from Friday Night Lights.
Somebody from Outkast, maybe?
And it was the Andre 3000 from Outkast. And plus Marky Mark made 4 brothers.
There you go. I don't know why I lost one for some reason in my head. But okay, let's drop the third clue. Let's get to the tiers. The third clue scrolling now is repeat. Bar, wish, and repeat. That is our first 3 clues. Get in the Discord. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. You could just go ahead and buy it. You see all the bells, all the whistles, all the things that we can't show everything off on the screen that TJ is showing off that we reference all the time. Dave Potts' article for baseball. If you want to buy baseball a la carte, you can do that too. It's the same exact price. Same exact price. You commit to 6 months as committing to 6 months of football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, WNBA, all the tools, the optimizer, the projections. People in the chat asking about the umpire data, the sims, everything you want. Get yourself 6 months. Basically, all the other sports come with it, are free if you're just looking for baseball a la carte. Everything with NASCAR. NASCAR is its own little world. Do check out the link in the description. We also have our props, our props team. You can get 50% off the first month for that as well. If you're in the underdog streets for player props, just your sports book, prize picks, things of that sort. Go ahead, check out that link in the description. Get yourself 50% off the first month. Okay, we got to throw 24 teams in tiers. Chop. First team we're going to talk about is the Athletics. They're taking on Toronto. Chris Bassett with a revenge game against his former team here. Springs, Bassett a -180 favorite. Bo Bichette starting to hit the ball. Good for him. I think he's got 6 home runs, and all 6 of them have come in this month. So, some power even seen from, I think he had a homer last night as well. Ernie Clement as the punt du jour last night. I wouldn't count on that happening again, but good for him for being one of the stars of the night last night. Where do you have the Athletics on the road? Downgrade, of course, here in Toronto, taking on Toronto. What tier are we throwing them in?
Downgrade, but Toronto's still a pretty good ballpark for hitting. So, all right. Toronto versus Oakland. It's the Athletics. Okay. Toronto versus the Athletics. I kind of dig this matchup. I'm going to put them in tier 2. Everything from being able to maybe get to the starter to attacking an attackable bullpen, tier 2 team. The Athletics against Bassett and a pretty good bullpen, I'm very neutral on. Man, I like this lineup they got these days. I think it's got a lot of potential in the future, but I don't know that this is a great spot. But then again, Bassett can get blown up, so that's why I'm neutral on them. So tier 3 for Toronto, for Oakland, and we've got Oakland as a logo, so I'm gonna call them Oakland. Toronto's tier 2, TJ. Toronto's tier 2.
I talked about this the other day. Oakland, they tell the other team, like their press, like their PR, they tell the other team, like the booth, like, do not call us Oakland. They specifically go their way. Do not mention where we're from. Only talk about us as being the Athletics. So they really don't want to be associated with Oakland in any capacity. Somebody asked, by the way, about umpire stuff, and as always, I put the qualifier on whenever a new series start. There's a bunch of new series tonight. This stuff can change sometimes, every once in a while. Several games also no umpires set just yet. We don't know who they are. We do have some extremes here, Chop. Extreme hitters umpire for Seth Lugo. For the game we just talked about, Jeffrey Springs, Giolito, Mize, Bassett, and Grant Holmes. So the Atlanta game, Toronto game we just talked about, and the Detroit, Kansas City. Extreme hitters umpire. No extreme pitchers umpires as of right now. All right. Back to power ranking. It's the Colorado Rockies in New York, 8 total. The Rockies don't quite have a 3 total, 2.7. Rightfully so. David Peterson on the mound, big-time favorite, biggest favorite on the board. The Mets have a 5 total as well, taking on Kyle Freeland. I did have these numbers from Peterson. I pulled them up earlier. Peterson on the season. Well, let's talk about the Rockies. Their WRC plus is 64 on the road, which means they're 36% worse than the average ball club. That's pretty terrible. That's the worst in baseball. They also have the lowest WOBA. They also have the highest K rate, 27.6%. And I mentioned Peterson, ground ball machine, and 0.62 homers per 9 on the season. 21.9% as far as the K is not amazing, but you do get a bump here against the Rockies, and we think the W is on layaway, assuming the offense takes care of business and Peterson sticks around for 5+, which should happen, but you never know. It's baseball. Mets, Rockies, what do you got?
How's my guess, Dean? Am I on the right track?
No, that's a good guess, though. It's a very good guess. It's not Groundhog Day.
There were 4 people in a row on Discord who dropped Groundhog Day as a guess, all within the same minute.
That's good, though.
Okay,
good effort.
It was just one after another, right after you gave the repeat clue.
Ew. Okay, back to the drawing board. All right, yeah. Colorado's a tier 5 team. They just stink, man. And Peterson's actually not bad. There's no way I think a stack for Colorado pays off tonight. So that's a tier 5. And the opposite end of the spectrum, I think the New York Mets are a tier 1. I love this lineup this year. I think they're awesome. I think there's a great matchup for them. A low K guy. Even the left-handers can perform well against this guy, even though he's a lefty. So nothing should impede New York from putting up a good total tonight.
Juan Soto on the season, 109 ISO versus lefties. I think it's going to improve. But he's been scuffling, obviously.
He'll be all right. You guys, New York fans are up in arms about it. I've seen a lot of that. Actually, it's probably just Yankees fans who are pretending to be Mets fans who are trolling. Soto will be fine, man. He's really good. He can get off to a slow start. He's fine.
They got the Knicks keeping busy, though. They really don't have all the time to complain. They're focused on that. And when New York doesn't win the title, then all of a sudden they'll be upset about the Mets. At least half the people up there in New York, I suppose.
Actually, Dean, in my experience, and the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, if you know this, Mets fans are usually Nets fans.
Yeah.
So Yankees fans are probably the Knicks fans. But, I mean, of course, I'm not totally in tune with the New York sports scene.
My understanding is, like, most of them are Knicks fans. But I know what you're saying. And I hear what you're saying. But, like, there's more, the split is bigger, the divide is bigger with Nets Knicks than it is Yankees Mets, if that makes sense.
No way. I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm not from New York, but that seems hard to believe to me.
We need Brewster Steve for this. He would chime in and clarify for us, but
Where is
Yeah.
Steve? I ain't seen that dude in about a month.
He's on a leave. What is it? I can't think of the
Paternity
technical
leave.
term.
He had a baby.
Like he had a
He's
child.
on paternity leave.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know they give that for dudes.
Yeah. And the TJ, that's why you're seeing a lot of TJ these days. He's working hard for the next, I don't know, several weeks or so until we get Steve back. Let's move on. San Fran, the Mets. Nope, the Marlins. 9 total. Giants have a 5 total in this ballpark. It's an upgrade because like every ballpark's an upgrade. They're also locked in for every ballpark with the exception of their home ballpark, obviously. Not that the Marlins Stadium is appealing to hit baseballs. It's pretty cavernous, but it is appealing to hit baseballs against Cal Quantrill. Just one of the worst pitchers in baseball. Doesn't miss any bats. Also the worst bullpen as far as current roster, the Marlins when it comes to Sierra. So, and you're locked in for 9 against this Miami pitching staff. Quantrill in that pen. Some of my favorite hitters in the slate. I never play the Giants, basically. But I love Elio Ramos. Love Chapman. Fine with Adames. Flores, Shore. Don't mind Yaz. San Fran's one of my favorite teams on the board, Chop. You tell me, where are you at as far as San Fran and the Marlins? And not much to love here for Miami, I guess. They got the rookie catchers, Augusto Ramirez. He's pretty good. I don't really love a heck of a lot behind him. Stowers has some power, but left on left, kind of buried in the lineup.
Nah, I'm on 5, tier 5 for Miami. I don't want any. Like we got 24 teams to choose from.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pass on Miami stacks. That doesn't do it for me. Against a talented starting pitcher and a talented bullpen, it's gonna be hard for a Miami stack to get there. Now, whether you want to go Stowers, that's just a one-off and like that, but I don't want to stack them up. San Fran, I was with you. Like, I like San Fran. I kind of like it, but then things kind of drew me back on San Fran a little bit at the end, so I'm going to put them in tier 3. I was digging into some of their, I try to take everything into account, Dean. I'm not a slave to a particular stat or number, and I want to know the big picture. These guys – have they been good this year? Have they been good the last 2 years? What's their career like?
The BVP
sustainable BVP. I want to know all that stuff. And I also, believe it or not, and a lot of the purists are going to just totally disagree. The stat guys, I want to know what you've done recently. How are you hot? I know some guys don't think there's a such thing as hot streak, but there is. They say it's like when you're seeing the ball and it looks bigger than what it really is, and everything you're putting a barrel on everything. You're hot. And I'm digging into some of these San Fran guys. They're ice cold. Some of these guys, like, it's been a while since they've gotten a base hit, so that doesn't bode well. So I'm going to put them in tier 3.
Yeah, I mean, Cal Quantrill is kind of a slump buster, but I hear you.
Yeah, he sucks, but I mean, I got to, it's the battle of forces here with him. But tier 3 is neutral, so it's not like I'm downgrading them to like nothing at all. I'm saying I think a couple of these guys I could play, but I don't want to go full on San Fran stacks.
Clue number 4, Chop, and for the people they're hanging out there in the Discord channel, let's give away a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. The 4th clue, 1, 2, and 3 are bar, wish, repeat. 4th clue, deceive. All right, Angels, Guardians, 8.5 is the total. Jose Soriano and all his ground balls taking on Luis Ortiz. You mentioned that Trout is back, so you got Neto. I mean, Sean Wells to me is essentially Luis Ariz at first base, more or less, like a worse version of him. At least Ariz takes care of a worse position, I suppose, but hard to stack in my opinion. Ward, Soler, Trout being back at 3.2K in FanDuel, pretty solid price. Cleveland. I think it's a pretty standard. We had Quan, who was banged up the other day. He's back. He's fine. He's in the lineup. J-Ram's in there. That's all that matters. The rest of it, it's kind of nonsense. Guardians, Angels, what say you?
Okay, Dean. Is it? No, I'm not going to guess out loud, but Butthole is guessing in chat, and he seems to think he's
been right since the second clue. Butthow's been right since the second clue.
Golly,
it has been guessed correctly. I don't know if it's people that are in multiple chats, but He has been right since clue number 2.
He's good,
Down
man.
to Butthole.
Butthole knows
Yeah.
Butthole knows his trivia, man. Butthole knows
He's
his
got to stay off the grid. He's got to stay off the grid. He can't jump
Yeah.
the Discord.
Props to Butthole. He's always getting those right, man.
He's on top of it.
Yep. So yeah, there you go. All right. Let's see. I got both these teams in tier 4. I don't have a whole lot of interest in either one of these guys tonight. I think the pitchers are okay. They're solid enough that the lineups aren't explosive enough that I'm not going to feel bad if I don't end up with an LA or a Cleveland stack. Tier 4 for both of these teams.
I see. I don't want to speak for TJ. TJ, feel free to jump on here, but D-Rock took it down. Shout out to D-Rock. I know D-Rock's won it before, and he's just telling TJ, pick someone to give it to. I don't know, TJ, if you have any sort of parameters, if you want to say, hey, somebody make me laugh, somebody say something kind, I don't know. But TJ, the power is now yours to give away a week free, a premium to whoever you want. You know, TJ, I don't know if you know this. Maybe Spidey knows this, but with great power comes great responsibility. Are you ready for this responsibility? Do you accept this responsibility?
I don't want the responsibility. I guess I would go to, because my first thought is to go to the second person who guessed it, because somebody guessed it in the same minute as Derek did. So I would love to give it to Butthole, but he's not in the Discord, so I don't even know.
How would you give it to him? He doesn't even have an account, I don't think.
I mean, I know who Butthole is.
I'm not saying don't give it to him, to be fair, but he's not abiding by the rules, and we live in a society. But you know, whatever you want, it's your power, TJ. TJ, do whatever you want.
We're gonna do.
You give it to me.
Duck Fan 1981 because he guessed it at the same time and just got the approval in Discord from D-Rock. So we're going with Duck Fan.
Duck Fan. By the way, Dean, they're doing a Duck Dynasty reboot. it's awful stuff.
Who's clamoring?
Did the Duck Dynasty guy just die?
Oh, spoilers, TJ.
Goodness gracious. That was probably going to be the opening episode, man, was the funeral, but no.
I've never watched an episode, to be clear.
Spoilers. It's a real life thing that happened last week.
Who needs more Duck Dynasty in their life? Like, who's asking for this? Are you asking for it, Chop?
No, I didn't watch it I didn't watch the original. I got a feeling I know why it's back though. It's not rocket science.
I don't know anything about it. But whatever. If people are enjoying it, by all means, I guess have a good time.
Well, didn't Willie come out a while back and have some extremely racist comments or something? I don't know.
I don't know who Willie is.
Willie from Duck Dynasty.
I mean, I can figure that, but isn't it like a whole crew? I don't know anything about
Willie the Duck.
I think they got duck calls. Didn't they invent like a duck calling apparatus that they made money off of it? I don't know. I'm naive in the whole Duck Dynasty world. I didn't watch Dynasty. Anything Dynasty involved, I'm out. But so I couldn't speak on it.
What about
You're saying that because
Dynasty,
of that?
what about a Dynasty football league?
I'm not in one of those, thankfully. That's too much work. I am in a Dynasty hockey league and a Dynasty baseball league, though. I got kind of, I got sort of forced into those. But yeah, one of these days I'll sit you down and I'll talk about my baseball. I got Roman Anthony Chop in my baseball Dynasty league, so get excited about that. All right, let's get back on track. We got 20 minutes until crunch time comes in here. Dave Potts, Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. We got BeerMakersFan as well. All right, what is left? We have Angels, Guardians. Okay, Boston and Atlanta. Grant Holmes taking on Lucas Giolito. 9.5 is the total. We have Atlanta, one of the best teams on the board. Giolito. I wrote about it today as far as Giolito. Like, remember there was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe it was 7. It's been a while. He was one of the worst pitchers in baseball, and then he became one of the best pitchers in baseball a couple years after that. And now he's been injured, and maybe he's one of the worst again. We're not sure. He doesn't look good. The swinging strike rate is really alarming. It's like 7% or so. Small sample stuff, obviously. 7.7% if you want to get all technical. 27 innings. Atlanta is one of the best stacks on the board, in my opinion, especially on FanDuel, where all the good guys are way too cheap, it seems like. Kind of reverse splitsy, so you're going to play Ozuna and Acuna anyway, but even more reason to do so. And Matt Olson's 3-1. Just seems way too cheap over there. I like the Braves, and curious what your thoughts are. Atlanta, Boston, what do you got?
Yeah, certainly like the Braves. We got the Mets in tier 1. Let's add Atlanta to tier 1 now also. Like Atlanta quite a bit tonight. going against Lucas Giolito, who kind of stinks now. I think he had that one really good year, and everybody kind of got on board with him, like, oh, it's the next big thing, and it just never materialized after his injury. So I got Atlanta in tier 1. Boston is a tier 3 for me. Grant Holmes is not bad. He's not great, and it's a decent offense, but he's not bad. And so I think the lineup is it's starting to fall down a little bit. That Boston lineup was really good to start the year when they were 100% healthy. Now they've got several pieces to that lineup missing. It's not as good as it once was. So I'm going Boston in tier 3.
Boston tier 3, Atlanta, you said tier 1. Is that correct?
Top dogs.
Yeah, I'm
top
right there with
law.
you.
Top dog law.
I see Matt in chat is asking about the BVP Olsen talk. We didn't mention it earlier. I didn't want to completely steal the thunder. Potentially the BVP play of the day, the suggestion of the day. But yeah, I think it was 4 homers and 13 at-bats on the season. Not on the season, his career against Giolito. They did it take on Giolito and beat him up pretty good. So I imagine Olsen was a part of that earlier in the season. St. Louis, Texas, Jack Leiter, Matthew Liberatore, 8.5 total. St. Louis a slight favorite here. Texas has just been so underwhelming all season long. Liberatore is just one of those pitchers that I just don't like picking on a heck of a lot. Strike thrower, 3.4% as far as his walks. He just tends to not really give up any home runs. And Texas stinks, right? So I don't like Texas. St. Louis is fine. You never really know what you're going to get out of Leiter. He's sort of all over the place. Where do you have the Cardinals and Texas?
This one was interesting, Dean. This one was really interesting to me. Okay, when I was doing my pre-show rankings on that. So Texas, I was debating. Like, they're getting a 4.3 team total. Pretty solid team. It's actually a really good team total. But yet the ownership on these guys is almost nothing. Like, nobody's going to stack multiple Texas guys in the same lineup. So I was thinking, man, should I originally put them in tier 2 because I was like, that's just too low for a 4.3 team total and all that good stuff. But then I thought, I can't put Texas in tier 2. Nah, that just doesn't. They're just not that good. So I had to bump them down to tier 3. So Texas is in tier 3. But then I look on the other side of this game and said, well, you're going to get almost just as low ownership on St. Louis, but that's a 4.7, and that's a much more attackable pitcher, and this is a pretty decent lineup. So St. Louis has got to go in tier 2. It's just an ownership play right there. That's a big team total against a not-so-good pitcher and, like, no ownership at all, like no stack ownership at all, man. Just there'll be some one-offs. You might have 2 guys in the sim, but as far as a top 3, top 4, top 5 stack, won't happen. So I got to go a lot on St. Louis there.
Leiter's been wild, 12.2% as far as his walks this season. The K is not great at 17.4%. The Sierra's 1 over his ERA, 4.17 ERA. The Sierra 5.14. He's got really lucky as far as BABIP at 224. So I think his homer in the fly ball is lucky too. Yeah, 7.5%. So he hasn't been great. He hasn't been horrendous, but also feels like some impending doom coming there for Leiter at some point. Detroit, KC, Lugo, Mize, 8.5 total. Pretty much a coin toss here.
Before you move on, where were those 2 again, Chuck?
2 and 3. St. Louis 2, Texas 3.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Carpenter, Green for Detroit always seem a little bit too cheap, especially on FanDuel. I think Carpenter's $3K. Seems like a pretty good price here versus Seth Lugo. Kansas City, we know the deal there. It's Bobby Witt and then some dudes that are worse than those dudes. Where do you have the Royals and Detroit?
Similar to a game, the Cleveland LA game. Just both are going to end up in tier 4. Just not much excitement about this game. Not much excitement about these offenses. I think the pitchers are probably at the very least average, probably a little bit above average. They just don't strike guys out that much, but they also don't wall guys. They don't give up a lot of hard contact. Not big home run threats. So, and the lineups are very marginal on both these teams. So they're both in tier 4 for me. KC, Detroit, both land in tier 4.
All right, hanging out with Father Stu in the tier number 4. We still have 5 or 6 more games. Crunch time coming in. 15 minutes or so. Plenty of time on the clock. Did we have Spidey bombs? I don't know if I don't want to pressure TJ and Spidey into it, but I don't think they've been teased just yet. I don't know if we have enough likes for things. Just hit the like button anyway.
You don't want to pressure me into it. Why would you bring it up, Dean? Now I have to.
Somebody mentioned it earlier, and you know what? People always want to know. They're clamoring for it. And you would be disappointed if they didn't ask for it. It's like, they don't want Spidey bumps today? This is, Spidey wants to feel like he's wanted. And, I don't feel like I've seen any dropped. I've seen nothing of the sort as far as this many likes. It's a Friday. It's been a long week for you. If you don't have any, Spidey's got to rest at some point, I imagine.
It's Friday. It's been a long week, but we'll do it for the chat because we love the chat. We'll got the first one coming right away. Second one at 100 likes.
There you go. The fifth clue, by the way, we did get a winner, but let's go ahead and play it out. Chop, do you know the answer? Did you get the answer? Or you heard that? Did you hear the answer? I don't think we mentioned the answer just yet as far as Film Friday. Bar, wish, repeat, deceive. The fifth clue, Chop, is Kawhi Leonard.
Whoa. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I saw Butthole's guess of liar, liar. So
yeah.
So and you said it was right, so I stopped playing. Kawhi Leonard, liar, liar. I don't know.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Liar, Liar? You've seen it before, right? I imagine
I've seen it, but it's been a while. It wasn't a repeat watch for me. It was a one-time watch, and it was quite a while ago, so I have no idea.
Jim Carrey, one of the things he did with his kid, he did like the claw. Like that was just, and like remember the boyfriend tried to do the claw and it didn't work out very well. And of course, Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
His claw. Nickname is the claw. He plays a lawyer, that's why bar exam, sidebar. So bar is the first clue. Wish, his kid wished for one day that his dad, a lawyer, would be forced to tell the truth. That's kind of what kicked the whole story off of. Repeat is the name of the movie. It's called Liar, Liar. And 4 is deceive, and the movie's all about lying. Liar, liar. All right. There is and shout out to D-Rock for winning and passing it along, I believe, to was it Duckman? Somebody Duck adjacent. Duck Fan. Duckman is something else. I think Duckman was actually a USA TV show many years ago.
He's a Duck fan, Dean.
Yeah. Anaheim, I presume.
Well, what about aren't you a Panthers fan?
Yeah, but we don't care. We don't care about the Anaheim Ducks.
No, but really, no. It just the fact that he's a Duck fan made me think, but Dean's a Panther fan. Aren't you excited? Aren't your Panthers in the finales?
I might be. Well, maybe we'll see. Trying to finagle a way to get to Game 3. We'll see.
What do you mean finagle, Dean? Describe finagle to me. What you mean by that?
Well, I hit up one of the my rep, and it's probably not going to happen.
God.
And it just so happens my brother's going to be in town, and he's just like, I got it, and I don't really want him to pay for it, but he will.
Why don't you pay for it, bro?
What's that?
Why don't you pay for it?
I can, sure. It's a little pricey.
It's not really. It's not a tough deal, Dean. It's a finals. It's a big thing. It's a team you like that you support. Sometimes you got to pony up and pay the price, brother.
Yeah, so we might go. We'll see. I'll update it. You'll find out, and I guess not this Monday,
Dean,
but next Monday.
What I've come to learn over the years, life and the enjoyment of life isn't about chasing money. It's not about accumulating or stacking money. It's about events. It's about events and times and memories and things you can look back on later on and always enjoy them. And
no, you're right.
If money helps you get to those events, that's great. But don't just sit there and hold your money for a rainy day or hold your money for retirement. Get out there and enjoy the events. Create a memory, Dean. Get out there, and it's the finals, bro. You think I regret dropping a bunch of money going to the Final Four? No. Final Four? Like, no, man, that was fantastic. That was a memory I'll always have with my kid.
Same with vacations. I never regretted a vacation. Yeah, I completely agree. I agree with your assessment. And probably going to go. Mike saying he's saying his brother has bread over him, which is it's not a competition, but it's maybe true. Maybe true. Not again.
Dude, why don't we go to a game in Edmonton? Well, you buy the tickets. You get the rep to get the tickets. I'll buy the accommodations, and we'll link up in Edmonton.
That's right, TJ. I guess TJ. You never hear him talk about it. He says he's an Edmonton fan.
It is that is a good question to get on. I use SeatGeek myself, but you can get on whatever platform Who has the lower ticket? What home stadium has the lower tickets for this?
Oh, for sure, the
Oh,
Panthers.
gotta be
Canada,
Florida.
yeah, for
Really?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
well.
Canada cares way more. I saw Dallas had tickets for like $40 or $50, and if there's going to be like a game 6, Edmonton's like $700, $800,
Yeah.
$900, $1,000. They care. They care way more than we do. And they're getting a fan base. That happens. You make the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row, but Canada that's their sport. That's number one. It's not even a conversation. So, sorry, the tickets are cheaper down here. I think they're like $700 or so. But all right, we're getting sidetracked. And I have not been to a Stanley Cup final before. I don't think I've been to some of the playoff games, not the finals. No, I haven't. All right. How many more games do we have left here, Chop? Speaking of our favorite teams, your favorite team, the Houston Astros, taking on the Rays. Ryan Pepio, Framber Valdez, 7.5 total. Not the most appealing spot for hitting. You mentioned Pepio, the righty. He's kind of neutral, though. So, obviously those righties for Houston. I like Paredes a little bit as like a one-off. You're looking for a sneaky one-off. I do like Paredes versus neutral, reverse split type pitchers. So we can hit the ball down the line versus, over the Crawford boxes. On the whole, though, I mean, who picks on Framber Valdez and all those ground balls? Like, what are you doing on a 12-game slate? This no chance. No chance for me. What say you? Rays, Astros.
Yeah, you to pick on Framber, you're really hoping for just one of those terribly bad games, and then he gets out of there early and you can attack the bullpen. But Tampa's a tier 4 because I don't want to bank on that. I actually think Pepio's got a little bit of talent here, so I don't love picking on it, especially with a lineup that still Jordan's getting closer, but he's not there yet. So I don't love picking on it, but I'll go Houston tier 3 because, like you said, I do like some of these some of the hitters. Maybe I one off a guy, but Houston's a tier 3, Tampa's a tier 4.
All right, Washington, Arizona, one of the more popular teams on the board. We are getting Ketel Marte back today. He was dealing with an illness. He is in. They sent down Jordan Lawler. I think he went hitless, I want to say. They didn't give him enough playing time. They didn't really give him a chance, but, obviously he'll be back at some point, still 22 and an uber prospect. No lineup just yet for Washington. Kelly taking on the Nats. Where do we have Washington and Arizona?
I don't know. Hold on a minute, Dean.
You probably have Arizona top 2.
I was trying to look up some tickets for you, but you cut me off. Arizona,
yeah.
Arizona, and those are actually more expensive than what I thought for Florida.
Me too.
Yeah, maybe your brother should pay for it.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go here. I don't know. Washington, Merrill Kelly's not bad at all. 3.6 implied team total doesn't do, doesn't make me feel very good about it. He's a solid pitcher. Washington's a tier 4. Washington's in tier 4. And Arizona, against Jake Irvin. I love this lineup. I think this is I've said it about a couple of teams because everybody wants to crown the Dodgers. This is a team that could beat the Dodgers in the playoffs. I like this lineup if they're healthy. And so Arizona is a tier 1 for me. Speaking of Dodgers, Betts is not even in the starting lineup tonight. So
I saw that.
I like Max Fried even more. That's a right-handed number 2 hitter. Let's get Fried even more in there.
I'm guessing Conforto is not projected to be in there. He's in there as a lefty. Fried obviously dominant as far as subduing power, keeping the ball on the ground. Ohtani, Teoscar, Will Smith, Freeman, Pajes, Edman, Kike Enrique Hernandez, Conforto, and Rojas. Whatever the number is, I'm not making 100 lineups or whatever, or 150, I think you're supposed to get over the field on Fried. It's not hard. It's really not hard to make that happen. But I had the first thought that you had that with Betts being out for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Is he dinged or just a day off on a Friday night? That seems kind of weird. No Yankee lineup just yet for what it's worth. Let's move on. It's Pittsburgh, San Diego, Pivetta, one of the better pitchers on the board, taking on a terrible Pittsburgh team. There's O'Neal Cruz, and then there's everybody else. Just Henry Davis is batting 5th. Horwitz batting 4th. It never shocks me how terrible this Pittsburgh lineup is, but it shouldn't. It really shouldn't because it's the same dudes. It's not good. Pivetta also has the biggest K rate on this slate. Not dominant, like it's good, but nothing like massive. I think it's 28%. 28.3% on the season, which is really good. It's not elite, but that's the biggest K rate on the board. Where do we have these offenses? Pittsburgh and San Diego.
Pittsburgh's in tier 4. Don't love it. Don't love the lineup. Too many teams tonight for me to put them any higher than that. San Diego, I want to like them a lot more, but I just can't get to them very much tonight. So they're a tier 3. I'm pretty neutral on San Diego tonight against Keller, who's a fair. He's probably a league average pitcher. Doesn't give up a ton of home runs, and yeah, it's a big ballpark. Let me check out my numbers, Dean. Let me check out my park factors for San Diego. Yeah, slightly below average in home runs, all that good stuff. Even though the weather tonight bumps that park up just a tad bit, it's still below league average. San Diego is a tier 3.
See if anything changed as far as you mentioned the ballpark stuff. Of course, Roth going to be in here soon. Yellow, green for the Mets, straight yellow for Cleveland, green, yellow for Atlanta. Baltimore we don't care about. That might be happening right now. I think it is. And yellow for Philly, another game we do not care about, right? That game is 6:45. Okay, so nothing terribly alarming. Anything changes, of course, Roth will be on top of it. Got the BEP suggestion coming in shortly, as well as the knockers, as well as TJ and Spidey. We had Spidey Bomb scrolling. Yeah, me and Spidey were in link because we both liked Paredes at 5-1 today. All right. I think we have 2 more games to go. We're getting there, Chop. We're slowly getting there. Minnesota, Seattle, Woo, Zebby, Matthews. We are projecting Buxton to play today for Minnesota. So that's of note. I don't think their lineup has been officially released just yet. Where do you have Seattle and the Mariners? No, and the Twins. That's the same thing.
Yeah, not a lot of love in this ballpark for either offense. I would say Seattle. I got them in tier 3 right now. I could be convinced to bump them down to tier 4 if I needed to. I think Zebby's okay, and then you're going to get followed up by a pretty good bullpen. But I'll put him in tier 3 just for the heck of it. He does give up some fly balls, and maybe that helps Seattle's case. Minnesota's a straight up tier 5. Woo has fixed his splits problem. He actually doing pretty well against left-handers and right-handers now this year, and for the past 250 innings or so, which is a pretty decent sample size in my book. He's done pretty well against both sides of that plate, so he's fixed some of that stuff. He's 3.3 implied team total, Dean. Does not instill confidence in a stack, man. When it's that low, I usually don't even play with that.
Sorry. If Minnesota has they have a big game today, it's bad news to your boy because Woo doesn't walk anybody, 3.2% as far as the walk rate. He does a really good job keeping the ball in the ballpark. It's a tough ballpark to bang out homers unless your name is Big Dumper Kyle Rowley. Everybody else can't seem to get it out, but he has no issues there. The last game on the board before we give the old board summary, it is the Yankees and the Dodgers. Tony Gonsolin taking on Max Fried. Again, if you just missed it, there's no bets, no Yankee lineup just yet, but we're assuming the usual suspects are going to be in there. This is probably like an Apple game too, I imagine, somewhere. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not prime time. This might be the Apple game. Some people are going to be very angry. They can't watch this game unless they have Apple. It seems like that kind of game with the Yankees and Dodgers on a Friday night. But yeah, where are we putting New York and LA?
Speaking of Apple, Dean, I was I like to bookmark like things I see on Twitter that interest me. I can come back later and take a look at. So I bookmarked this apple cake recipe, and then I came back and made it yesterday, 2 days ago. It was awful. It was terrible. It was the way I did it. Yeah, it's one of those things like, oh, here's a cake and it's just made of apple and these 3 simple healthy ingredients, and then so I did. It was awful. So man, I'm done with that.
What do you have against apple pie?
It's totally different, and apple pie is not healthy for you.
Okay, so this is for health reasons. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, this is one of those things that they throw out to you. Say, look at these ingredients. These are 3 healthy ingredients, and if I do this with them, it makes this cake, and it's so good. But it was not. So, I'm gonna get rid of that. But just wanted to vent, Dean, because I did this thing. I whipped it up. I whipped up 3 little small dishes of this apple cake. I thought it was going to be good and fluffy and nice and taste good, and then I went to eat it. I gave a piece to my wife and my daughter, and it was straight up garbage and made me look like a fool. And I don't like looking like a fool. So
they weren't even like trying to be like, well, Dad took the time. No, they just said no.
No. Oh no, my wife was
there's
like,
no curve.
My wife was like, "Why would you even give this to me? Like, why would you even give this to me, man? You have to."
Well, did I make you mad?
Yeah,
What I did to you?
like, come on, man, making me look like a fool. Twitter. Anyways,
get back in those comment section.
The Dodgers. That's a tier 4. I didn't even like them without bets. With bets, now they're without bets. Max Fried's good, man. It's a legit ace. Big time numbers everywhere, all the way across the board. Dodgers lineup. I said it last year. I think they're top heavy, and now they're a little bit even less top heavy without bets. So tier 4. New York Yankees. That's a tier 2. Gosselin can be had. I don't think he's that great. He will strike guys out. He'll also walk a ton of guys. He'll also give up a ton of fly balls. That sometimes can get you in trouble against a good offense. I think the Yankees have a little power in there, so Yankees going to tier 2.
All right, let's recap the board. We got the knockers coming in shortly, as well as the BVP suggestion of the day. If you guys missed it, Chop not only ranked Mark Wahlberg movies, but actually his characters, Mark Wahlberg characters. So that's why Marky Mark is number 1, who played the character Marky Mark as a singer and dancer. Eddie Adams, also known as Dirk Diggler, better known, I would say, as Dirk Diggler from Boogie Nights. Dustin Mayron from what now? What movie was that from? Do I recall?
Daddy's Home and Daddy's Home Part 2.
Father Stu from Father Stu, and then Jim Bennett from the Gambler, I believe. Which John Goodman? I think that was John Goodman in that movie. Is that right? Does that sound right? I think so. Okay. In tier number 1 in Marky Mark, it's the Mets, the Braves, Arizona. Eddie Adams just has 2 teams. It's Toronto, and it's the Blue Jays and the Cardinals. It's the Birds. Dustin has the most popular spot here, the on the fence, if you want to call it, in the 3-hole. That's the Athletics, the Giants, the Red Sox, Texas, Houston, San Diego, and Seattle. Father Stu has got Detroit, Kansas City, the Rays, Washington, Pittsburgh, and usual suspects hanging down there in the gutter with Jim Bennett. It's the Rockies and the Marlins in their home, and then Minnesota is joining them today. Chop, give the people. Darren says there's 4 teams still not on the board. Did we miss 2 games? Did I goof?
No.
Did I screw up?
Well, two teams got scratched already.
Oh, I just saw it in the chat. I'm like, did we happen to skip a couple teams?
No, the Baltimore game was earlier today. They got moved.
Did I miss what that said for the Yankees and the Dodgers?
Maybe he's thinking. Oh.
This is. I don't want to name names and say who this is on.
I thought you guys introduced that game and never actually ranked them.
My goodness. I mean, we actually did a 5-minute spiel on these teams.
Oh my gosh.
The spiel, but not the actual.
Let's say the Dodgers in 4 and Yankees in 2.
Yeah. He said that's definitely a 4 without bets.
I tried to
Are you making lineups, DJ?
It wasn't my fault, but it probably was.
Are you spinning plates? You're splitting plates, right? You're multitasking?
I was looking at the next Spidey bomb.
I thought Spidey just gives you a list. How long does that take?
I got to check the odds. That's what I was doing.
Spidey doesn't understand how odds work. Can you teach him that one day?
He doesn't have time to look at scores and odds. He has a subscription to support RotoGrinders and support Better Collective, but he doesn't have time to check.
Are the Guardians also not on the board? I'm being told the Guardians are not on the board as well. Chop, you have this written down, don't you? Like you pre-make the board.
Yes, Guardians were tier 4 because I said this LA Cleveland game is both 4s, along with KC Detroit, both 4s. I kind of referenced that, so that's all good. Whatever, man.
All right, that's fair.
If you're sitting at home, take it. If you're sitting at home writing this down, I don't know. I feel you might want to touch some grass.
Not just touch grass, but what they are going to write down, Chop. They're going to write down the knockers. They want the knockers. This is where they get the pen and paper and the BVP suggestion of the day. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, the floor is mine, brother. I had the Matt Olson in there. I'm taking Matt Olson out of the BVP. Now, if Matt Olson goes yard, I'm going to give credit to myself. But everybody's already said Matt Olson. I'm going to pivot to Corbin Carroll, BVP. Corbin Carroll, like everything about that one. The knockers, Dean. Let's go with some Subway knockers. I don't know if you've ever been on the Subway and you've seen some knockers on the Subway.
I've been on the Subway.
Sometimes you'll see some knockers on the Subway, if you know what I mean. But I'm going New York Mets, 2-6 combo, Vientos Marte against Kyle Freeland. That's the one I want. Let's do it.
Somebody is playing Marky Mark in the background, I believe.
I love the good vibrations on a Friday.
Is that you, Chop? I thought I heard that. Is that good vibrations playing in the background? They're going to come at you. They're going to strike us for sure. So we got to subdue that. We do have crunch time coming in here in just a second. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring them on. It's Dave Potts. Cheese is good. It's Kevin Roth. It is Beer Makers Fan. Let's do it. Crunch time right now. Roth, I bet you did not think you were going to hear some Marky Mark today. I don't know. Were you ready for that? Were you prepared for Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch?
I wasn't, but I was pleased to hear it. Chop set Friday, Marky Mark. There's nothing wrong with that. A little good vibrations.
I mean, if you play it too long, there might be something wrong with that.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe don't.
The key to the show is don't get sued or fired.
It's rule number one.
Close. Yeah.
And Choppa, doing his best for sure. We got Beer and Dave. How are things? Everybody good?
No, not anymore, man. I was doing great, and then you come on, and my whole life, people telling me what I need to do to be healthy, live long. Apple is one of the healthiest things in the world. I just heard apple pie is not a health food. We can now confirm this is. I've been living my whole life based on this. Even out the ice cream with healthy fruit, apple pie. Chop, you're telling me this is. I've been lied to.
Spoiler alert. Cheese. Carrot cake is also not good for your eyes.
Oh, no.
What? Goodness gracious. All right. I'm going to have to spend this weekend reevaluating some things. But other than that, happy Friday.
Can I say that carrot cake is like the biggest variant, like dessert? Carrot cake could be a 10 or it could be a 1. It can go all over the place. You never know what you're going to get with carrot cake.
It's a good take.
But massive ceiling, huge floor.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a good take, man. Carrot cake can be freaking great.
Elite.
But if it's dry, oh god, it's horrible if it's dry.
Yeah. And with carrot pie. Do not recommend carrot pie, right?
Carrot pie. I love carrot pie.
Chop tagged it on his Twitter. That's the next thing he's gonna make.
Never heard of a carrot pie.
You're just making things up now.
If you like apple,
Chop, if you're just going through dessert after dessert, can I just come over and taste all these? Is that
you don't want to taste the apple cake?
I do though. Like I'm intrigued by terrible.
Okay,
cake. I want to know what exactly it is.
The taste was actually not bad. The consistency was awful. And that's what got my wife. That's what got me in the doghouse.
So I don't know if you see what's going on here, Roth, on the screen. But TJ
or Raisin Bran. That's not even a. The poll is accurate in my opinion.
No, this is false.
Raisins are nasty. Speaking of carrot cake, you put raisins in there, you just ruin the damn thing.
That's a good take.
Yeah. They say 2 scoops of Raisin Bran. It's the one thing I think they put 3 scoops. There's a lot of raisins in there.
Yeah, double scoop, man.
They put a lot of raisins in there. But yeah,
that means nothing if they don't say exactly how big the scoop is.
Yeah, how big is it's like a teaspoon.
Yeah, it could be 20 scoops or 1, and those could be the same.
Also not healthy, cheese. Raisin Bran. People think it is.
Roth does.
But it's not.
Yeah. You mean if you put a bunch of sugar on a raisin, it's not healthy?
Oh, exactly.
All right.
Roth, you're a Raisin Bran guy?
I don't do cereal, so I got caught in an argument that I don't. I
Kevin Roth is what this all comes down to.
Yeah, I eat eggs. I don't eat cereal. I don't know. All right, I suck. My food take is terrible. Let's talk about the weather.
Well, let me get out of here. Chop, we're good. Yes,
we're good. Dean Friday. Let's do it.
All right, that was Chop. I was Dean. You got 45 minutes nonstop MLB DFS conversation. Cheap meteorologist Kevin Roth going to tell you about the weather. You got Dave Potts, Beer Makers Fan, knocking out the baseball analysis, taking you guys at the lock. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's some OGs. An OGCT. That's as good as it gets. Dave Potts. Cheese is good in the house. What up, Cheese?
Not much. It's always fun to be here with Beer. Just trying to figure out what I want to hear him say with that awesome voice, and then figure out a way to work it in so he doesn't know he's being led to say it. I haven't figured out what it's going to be yet, but always a good time.
There'll be something. I'm good to step in those traps, Cheese. I'm sure there'll be something that comes along that I'm ready to rock with. I forget the other ones that we had already, but I'm sure something will come up.
It's deep, it's booming, and there's just a little bit of an accent, that really just adds to it. It's great.
Yeah, and just enough like down home niceness baked in. It's all just glorious, honestly.
Perfect. It really is. It's excellent.
Got me blushing over here.
Yeah.
Beer cheese. I like the chat here.
Beer, how you doing, man?
I spent the day power washing the deck, so back's hurting, this is hurting, that's hurt. Enjoy your youth is what I always tell my kids and anybody out there in the chat that's still young, because that's a job. Next time I might have to farm that one out to somebody else. But outside of that, I'm great, Roth. It's Friday. Not many weather impacts, I don't think. We're going to let you ramble on that here in a second. Big slate of games and, beer cheese back together here on a Friday night. So all is well here.
We do love us some beer cheese. Let's talk about the weather. You said I'm going to ramble, and you are correct, because there's a lot of little things to kind of dive into. Of course, the Baltimore game got moved. That was smart. Otherwise, that game wasn't going to get played. That leaves us with the Philly game. I think everything looks good. For 80-90% of the game, I feel confident it looks good. That last 10-20%, I'm not sure, but I think probably still work out. And, if I could almost promise you 80% of the game and say you're probably going to get the other 20%, I think you would take that, right? Cheese, that's not anything that you would fade it based on?
No issue in that one. The Philly game is not on the main slate.
Well, what am I doing, Cheese? Why am I working
I was just going to let
hard?
you go. You seemed like you were enjoying that, so I was going to let you go.
Roth, there could be people betting on that game. I mean, there's impact, even though it's not on the slate.
Yeah.
It's still good info.
Right. Well, we'll get to the games that are more interesting. How about New York? I've had New York with a very low chance for a delay all day long. And all day people have been hitting me up like, oh, I don't think this New York game's going to play. I don't know what's going on in this New York game. So finally, I did the research. I went to weather.com, which is where, people who aren't meteorologists typically go.
That's where I go.
But yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, to be clear. Like, I think that's totally fine. It is blowing up storms in New York, which I'm not going to dismiss. I've used that site. There's nothing wrong with it. The forecast models that I use on a day-to-day basis keep New York dry enough, right? Just this isolated little stuff bubbling. They do not blow up a massive thunderstorm complex at 8 o'clock. So I think we're probably good. And I'm just hoping that weather.com is very wrong, which is often the case. But I could also look like a complete ass about 2 hours from now if that happens. And Cheese will let me know.
I think weather for weather.com being wrong a lot.
Yeah.
And I
think it's like BVP. Like every once in a while, it'll be right just by random chance, but it's dumb to use it.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's fair. I'm glad we're all in agreement there. I think using the forecast models that I use every single day and have used for a decade, and they've been good to me, I think we should stand by those in this case, and hopefully they will be correct tonight. But worth noting, certainly I'm going to be watching it pretty closely. And then last but not least, I want to talk about Cleveland, where I think we've got the best chance of a delay. It doesn't look like they're going to late start it. Let me get the very latest, just kind of looking at radar there briefly. Yep, we're pulling up that game. Good job. Yeah, there's no reason for them to late start in Cleveland because they've got an hour before any rain arrives, if not a little longer. I'm hoping they get a light segment of this line that's moving through and they just play through it. But that is the game most likely to see rain, and maybe the game most likely to see a delay. That's it.
And your best guess is if the first delay chance would be like an hour in, most likely?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe an hour into the game or so. I'm not sure that the part of the line that moves through is going to be heavy enough for them to have to delay. I'm hoping they can play through it, but I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Good enough. There's a cheap pitcher in that game.
Yeah, play him.
But like cheap enough that so it goes an hour and he comes out. I think that's fine.
Yeah, and there's also, this is not like a thick line of storms. This is hopefully, even if it moves in, they get back out and start playing pretty quickly. So maybe even if they do get a delay, they can get back out there. TJ, by the way, and this is the last I'll talk about weather. TJ mentioning the smoke. There's all these wildfires in Canada, And Beer, maybe you're being impacted by that.
Not yet, but I remember in years past, it gets bad. It's like you're in LA and you're in Michigan. So I saw it this morning on the news that it's coming. So
yeah. Midwest, Great Lakes.
Hit us today.
What's that, TJ?
Hit us today. It was just like beautiful yesterday, fresh air, and then today was just like smoke.
Yeah, that sucks. So if you're in the Midwest, if you're in somewhat the Northeast, but more so the Great Lakes, something we can blame TJ for, because the fires are in Canada, but the smoke is moving into the U.S. That's it. That's all I've got.
That's my bad.
Yeah. Way to take the blame. That's it. I'm going to keep watching things here as we go over the next 30, 40 minutes or so. Keep an eye on radar, but as of now, I don't see anything that is warranted a fade really in any scenario. So with that out of the way, let's dive into it. Talk to me about the slate. Beer, why don't you start with a little pitcher talk?
I think there's a lot of options tonight and at all different price points. So these are always fun where everything doesn't congregate around certain pitchers. Ownership spreads out. I think you'll see some guys near 30%, but nothing overly crazy here. So my favorite of this group, and Cheese will probably disagree with this, is David Peterson. I worry a little bit about the weather there. If there's going to be a delay, always makes me nervous with pitchers rather than hitters. They're such creatures of habit, getting in their routine. Not a huge strikeout guy, but it has been very productive of late. 6 or more strikeouts in 3 of his last 4, and it doesn't get much better than this matchup. Colorado striking out, highest rate against left-handed pitching along with the Angels. So I like Peterson, maybe not the upside of a Pivetta, who I also like. Brian Wu, I think the strikeout matchup there against Minnesota is outstanding. So you can make a case for any of those guys. So it's kind of one of them. A lot of people start their build with the top position and starting pitcher. And I like to have an idea of what I want to go. And I'm good using any of those 3 guys. So you come up a couple hundred short off of Wu or Pivetta. I think Peterson right there with both of those guys tonight. So great options on the high end. Going down a little bit, Ortiz, obviously the value play at 6K, another weather issue that we'll have to keep an eye on. The one I'm intrigued with, and maybe Cheese can give me some more info on, Zebby Matthews. Not a huge sample. We've seen some nice strikeout upside. This is a Seattle lineup that will strike out quite a bit, but they can also do some damage. So it's one of them risk reward type plays. I don't think a lot of people end up on him. Ownership's probably sub 10%, but we don't have a huge sample. So I don't know that he's safe for cash. You're probably better going down to Ortiz or spending up on the group that I mentioned. So Peterson, my favorite. Wu is probably second. Pivetta third. Zebby Matthews, kind of the wild card in between. And then Ortiz, if you need some savings, he'll be popular. But it's a good price. Not the easiest matchup, but does have some strikeout upside.
Okay, good stuff. Beer, let's start with Zebby. Sorry, Cheese. We like people with cool names. Zebby certainly does have that. Any interest, Cheese?
A ton of interest, even more so than I thought earlier. I can tell you after my lineups are built, he's my highest owned pitcher.
No, get out of here.
Yeah. He's Bailey Ober. He is Bailey Ober, named Zebby. He's Bailey Ober with a better name. Which means he will give up power. Like he could give up 4 home runs. That's not out of the question. But the guy throws a ton of strikes. He has at least above average, if not better than that, strikeout ability. He's underpriced. Like I think he should be 8K. He's the only cheap pitcher I'll consider on FanDuel, cheap being lower than 8K. And on FanDuel, on DraftKings, like Ortiz is quite a bit cheaper. And so I've got plenty of Ortiz as well. I would say Ortiz has the same upside at the lower price, but more risk, even though they both have risk. But I would say Ortiz has more risk. I'm very confident that Zebby's going to be a very good pitcher long-term. And I kind of think long-term begins now, although we don't know. He made 9 starts last year. And he's got 2 this year. Got a couple disasters in there. But again, he's Bailey Ober. Look at Bailey Ober. He has a few disasters because he can give up. He just throws a bunch of strikes, and sometimes they'll get hit out of the park. But I think he's underpriced, and I love him.
Wow. Okay.
So there you go. And also up top, Beer started by saying the thing that I thought when I started the music, which is I don't think I'm going to like David Peterson, but I do. So when you really dig into the numbers, he's actually pretty good. Like I kind of compared it in the article to Max Fried and Framber Valdez. It doesn't seem like he belongs with those two, but he's pretty close. Like a lefty who has above average strikeouts and just a ton of ground balls. There's not a lot of ways the Rockies can bury him. So I'm on board with Peterson. I do prefer Pivetta. Like Pivetta is my top guy. And I think you can get to him if you're playing Zebi or Ortiz. So I have more Pivetta than those other guys, but Pivetta, Peterson, Wu, and Valdez are my top four if you're spending up. And then there's actually a ton of guys around the 8K range that are totally playable. For me, Bassett and Liberatore are the two that I've got a little bit of. You could make even more of a case for Bassett with the way Oakland, the West Sacramento, as they say, lineup is kind of nonsensical down at the bottom now. Like all these children that they put in the lineup, they're not all bad, but that's not like a murderer's row of Alexander Davidson. I don't know how you pronounce that dude's name. Drew Avons and Denzel Clark. I mean, are we scared of that? So I think Bassett and Liberatore are very close to that higher group. And I would also say you're always allowed to play Max Fried. I don't know why you would at the highest salary on the slate, because it's not like he's an upside guy. Like it's like a great in real life pitcher. There's a bunch of great in real life pitchers for lower salaries. So feel free, but he missed my cut.
Can we go double cheap here with like Zebi and Ortiz and just absolutely release the hounds?
I hope so, because that's what I'm doing.
Yes, I love it. Did get some cash questions as well, Cheese, and it seems like there's a lot of ways we can go. Top, middle, and bottom. Is there a cash pairing here that is like the chalk, or not really? Because there's a lot of options.
So I really don't think there's any chalk pitching or hitting. I don't think there's a single chalk player on the whole slate anywhere. So don't worry about ownership, whether you're talking cash or tournaments. Like I don't think there's a definite best cash pairing at all. Personally, I would play Pivetta on FanDuel. And then I think I would do Pivetta Ortiz on DK. But you could do Wu or Peterson or Valdez or even Bassett. You could do Zebi. I really don't think there's a best answer. I can just tell you, if I played cash, which I don't, I would have Pivetta.
Yeah. Okay. And then Beer, before we move on to some of the stacks, MT Gaming says your favorite pitcher in a FanDuel GPP. You playing any Zebi in a FanDuel GPP, or you're holding that for DK?
I think he's perfect GPP play on either side, honestly. Just big time upside. He's risky. I don't know a lot of people are going to feel safe going that route with so many other options, especially. He is definitely my favorite on both sides in GPPs.
Okay, wonderful. Let's go to some of the bats and the stacks. And Cheese, you get to lead us off in that department. You mentioned you don't think there's anything overly chalky here, but is there a highest owned stack? And what are you most interested in?
I don't even think there's a highest owned stack. No, I don't even have a clue. Like there is no chalk, just pure. That's the only way to say it. Do not worry about ownership is my advice. Like if you're not playing something because you think they're going to be over-owned, I think you're doing it totally wrong. And part of the reason you can say that is I don't even know who I like the best. I've got roughly 7 teams in my top tier and another 3 or 4 that are pretty close. I mean, I'm supposed to pick a favorite. Yes, Arizona, and then the Yankees, and then Atlanta, but only sort of. And then the Mets, the Giants, the Blue Jays, the Padres, the Cardinals. I'll call that my favorite group, but it's all so jumbled and in ownership. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, do you have a more condensed pool here for stacks?
Yeah. I have to. Yeah. I mean, I love the list. The point is he's not wrong in the sense that you can go a million different directions and not worry about it. How many nights are we so worried about my stack's going to be overload? Everyone's going to have it. Whatever you like, you can go with tonight and not have to really worry about that. So I agree on most of those teams. I'll narrow it down to two. The two teams I like this morning when I started my research, I did the video, are still the same two teams here as we approach lock, and that's Arizona, number one. There's just so many bats in that lineup that can do damage. So I like them. Carroll's expensive, but there is a lot of value in that lineup as well. And then Atlanta's number two. I'm just not a believer in some of the things we see from Lucas Giolito, especially against lefties. So those are my main two. The Mets would probably be third on that list, but again, you can make a case for probably 10 teams. But Arizona, Atlanta, my two stacks I really like tonight.
Okay, Anthony says, are the Nationals viable? Cheese, I don't know if that was one of the teams you mentioned in your list.
I mean, viable, sure. They're not in my top 10. They're not in my top 12.
Ooh, okay. All right. Let's go around the horn. We'll talk position by position. We'll get back, answer some of these questions. We'll give some home run calls as well. Want to remind you to hit the thumbs up. We've got two Spidey bombs at the bottom of your screen. Paredes plus 500 and Bo Bichette at plus 540. If you like home run calls, all you need to do is hit the thumbs up. The more thumbs ups we get, the more home run calls TJ, aka Spidey, will get. So make sure you're hitting that thumbs up for us. And let's talk about position by position. Beer, you can lead us off. I think we might be picking on Seattle, but that seems like a problem because at catcher, there's a dude who hits home runs every single night.
And he's the top option on the high end. You know, he was the first name. I'm going to try to give you one at each kind of price point here. He's always going to be in my player pool. I mean, unless it's some crazy matchup, he certainly is the guy that if you want to spend up at catcher, you can do that. I don't know that that's the route to go here tonight. 4K-ish range. I like Ramirez for Miami leading off tonight. Been productive. And if you want to go cheap, I think it's Alejandro Kirk, 3,200. I did not mention Toronto in my stacks. I think Cheese had him on his list. I agree with that one. Against the lefty, Kirk looks a little bit too cheap here. Probably the most popular catcher. Certainly going to stand out. But I think it's good value. And then the similar vein and a little bit cheaper, and a guy that's been very frustrating this season, Danny Jansen, another guy that's always going to remain in my player pool. Like the matchup righty on lefty form here. He's a little bit cheaper than Kirk, probably a lot less owned, a lot more risky. That's certainly an 0 for 4 candidate. So I think Kirk is your cash game, unless you're stacking and you want to include a catcher. You can do that. Obviously, I like doing that. So Kirk, I think, is the best value. Raleigh, obviously, on the high end, and I think Ramirez kind of in between of those two.
Good stuff. Cheese, your thoughts there, catcher?
Yeah, Kirk would be the cash game play. Like, you don't need to spend up there. And Cal Raleigh, of course, the best play. Even though we like Zebby, like I said, he throws a bunch of strikes, which means he will give up some power. That's the guy who give up the power.
Exactly.
It's pretty simple. It's interesting to spend up to be totally different as well, which would be Ivan Herrera for me. I think he's fine. I would play him ahead of Will Smith. My favorite catcher for tournaments is Austin Wells. I think we're still waiting on that lineup. I'm assuming he's in there. The 4K range on DraftKings is fine. Like Ramirez for Miami is fine. Moreno, even though he's down the order, is fine because we like Arizona. Sean Murphy's back. He's fine. It's all fine. But the reason Kirk has my little blue tag is just it's one of the better positions to spend down on.
Yeah. Okay. How about first base?
First base is pretty great. I will say that I don't have a single lineup with Ohtani or Freeman. You can always play Shohei Ohtani, even against Max Fried. It's just, I think it's kind of silly to do it at that salary tonight. For me, Vlad, Alonso, and Olsen, and Josh Naylor, I guess, all in that like 45 to 53 range on DraftKings. I love every single one of those guys. If you have a little bit of salary, Alonso's my favorite. On FanDuel, you can add Cody Bellinger in there right in that same price range as well. It's a little tougher to get Alonso on FanDuel when like Olsen's 3,100 and I think Naylor's 31. So, and Vlad at 33. So probably you wouldn't play Alonso in cash for sure on FanDuel. But I really like that range. So I don't love going cheap at first because that's a lot of guys with a lot of upside. So my preference is to get at least to that level. Plenty of stuff in stacks like Christian Walker, viable-ish, a little bit cheaper. but we'll look to go cheap somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, your thoughts at first.
Pretty much same group for me. I'll just have Matt Olson on the top, but agree with that top tier. I don't think you can go wrong with any of these guys. I'd probably go Olson, Vlad, and then Alonso, but very close with all of them. And I agree. I can always make a case for an Ohtani. There's so many options that are a little bit cheaper here. So maybe that pushes the ownership down on Ohtani. So I wouldn't X them out of the player pool, but you just have such great options that are a little bit cheaper that are going to open up some salary for you. This is not a position I want to save. If for whatever reason you do want to save, I forgot about Naylor. He would be in that group for me. Love Arizona tonight. Toro, Alexander, but we're just giving you names to give you names at that point. I think you stick with this top three. You play Ohtani if you want to, or Naylor, whether part of a stack or not. I think he's viable tonight as well, a little bit cheaper than those guys as well in DraftKings.
All right, take me to second base, Beer.
Ketel Marte back in the lineup, was dealing with a little bit of an illness, so good to see him back in there. Not a position I love here tonight, so he's the priority for me. Ozzy Albies will be my number 2, kind of sticking with my stacks there. A couple other names that I'm mixing in out of Lopez, an Angel or Angel Martinez on the cheap if you need to go that route. But I really like the spot for Marte. Been swinging a good bat here of late, and I am not an Irvin guy. He struggles with lefties, been lucky against lefties this season. I think Arizona is going to do some damage, so he stood out to me.
Okay. Cheese, I feel like this is always the spot that we're saying, we're punting, we're playing some guy for 2,500. You spend it up, 5,400 for Marte?
There's a lot of lineups when you can, because you can go cheap at pitcher.
Yeah.
But I don't have a ton of him. Like it's, I don't love spending over 5K at any position, because I'd rather spend 4,500 at every position.
Right.
But he's definitely the top guy. I like Donovan and Albies a pretty good bit in there. They're not cheap either, but Albies on FanDuel is cheap. I like Colt Keith as a cheap guy. Got a little bit of Cronenworth. The main reason to play Marte is just it's second base and it's pretty weak. So the reason we usually say to punt is you're not giving up any potential upside, but you're giving up a little potential upside with Marte and a little bit with those other guys. So I'm pretty well spread out. I'm pretty well spread out at every position, as we said at the beginning. I wish I could tell you who my highest owned guy is. I have no idea. I'm not Neil. I could tell you. I have 6.21% of this guy.
He does. He does.
I know it's pretty easy to look. If I was at that other computer, I could do that. I'm going to guess it's Albies, if you're curious.
All right. I was curious. Take me to third base, Cheese.
It's similarly great as first base, with a pretty strong top group where you could order them in almost any way you want. But I really want one of these guys. It would be Matt Chapman is my highest owned. I can say that for sure, because he's a little bit cheaper than the group. Riley, Devers, Ramirez, Machado. And then you could throw Suarez and a cheaper Mark Vientos in there. That's 7 really good plays. And there's more past that are pretty good. But with all of that, I think this is not the place you want to punt just to punt. So anywhere possible, like if you need cheap, Vientos is as cheap as you need to go. But really, out of that top group, Chapman, Riley, Devers, Ramirez, Machado. I think that's where you want to live. I don't have a strong preference with how you go about ranking them.
Yeah, so a lot of good options there. Beer, you got a few favorites there at third?
Yeah, I mean, those big names are obviously good to go. I'll try to focus here on the mid-range. If you do want to save, I agree with Chapman. I think he's too cheap. Josh Young, I think, is in a good spot. These guys are all kind of in a 4K range. So if you can't find your way up to those other guys, these are some names for that. Vientos, also too cheap, in my opinion. And then Marcelo Mayer is interesting as well at just 3,100. So that's all guys from 3K to 4K. If you can't find your way up to the Rileys, Devers of the world, I would try to land on Chapman. If you need to go a little bit cheaper, I think it's Vientos, who will be the highest owned. But again, we're not worried about a guy that's 15, 20% owned. So a lot of options at third base tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. You get to take me to shortstop here.
So shortstop, not as strong in my opinion. So I think Bo Bichette is my favorite tonight, 4,100 against the lefty. He feels a little bit too cheap. Adames is a guy I'm going to continue to play, only a matter of time before he gets it going. So he's in that same price range. Cheap, I would probably Ernie Clement at 2,400. So sticking with Toronto there. Again, they're growing on my stack list here, the Toronto Blue Jays, but not the strongest position here. Lindor's fine if you want to spend up. Witt's always in play, but I think Bichette and Adames provide some solid savings tonight.
Good stuff. Cheese, your favorites here at short.
Yeah, I feel similar that we have some of the big shortstops and they're good, but they're not like as must play as sometimes. I think they're kind of more in the Ketel Marte range of, yeah, go ahead and play these guys so you have the salary, but I don't think you have to rearrange everything to get them. I would go Witt first and Lindor second, probably Abrams third, but I think kind of like what Beer was saying, I think I have more Adames and Bichette than those guys because of the salary, and Mason Wynn right behind them.
Yeah. Okay. What is that? Is it? Oh yeah, outfield. Cheese.
Corbin Carroll is far and away my favorite play on the whole slate. I don't have any Aaron Judge, Ronald Acuna, or Shohei Ohtani. How does that sound? Sounds
great.
terrible. It sounds terrible. Actually, I think I have one Aaron Judge. And what's weird about that is I'm stacking the Yankees all over the place. I'm stacking the Yankees without Aaron Judge.
Seems problematic.
That's how tonight's going to be. But It's Friday. I'm going to sleep early. We'll see what happened on Monday. Essentially, I just simply like Carroll better than all those guys, and I'm not spending up for two of them. That's just what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. I've just barely any like Tatis and Soto. Sure, play them. But if Corbin Carroll and or I like the mid-tier stuff pretty much just as much. On FanDuel, Lars Nootbaar is way too cheap. I like him a lot on DK as well, but particularly on FanDuel. I like Grisham and Bellinger, again, pending that lineup. I like Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter. I like Helio Ramos, and it's fine to play Lee or Yasser Paduski as well. I don't think I have any A's stacks, but I've got a little bit of those three outfielders with Soderstrom being first, Soderstrom, Rooker, and Butler. Because I'm not playing a bunch of those expensive guys, I'm really not doing a lot of chasing super cheap nonsense. There's plenty of it there. In stacks, I'm playing like Alec Thomas or Starling Marte, but I'm building in such a way that I just don't need that stuff as one-offs in most of my lineups, and it's just drastically far below all that mid-tier stuff I mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Beer, your favorites in the outfield. You got a lot to choose from.
Corbin Carroll tops the list, beast of the night. If you have not watched the video yet, love the spot for him here tonight. I like Arizona, so I think Lourdes Gurriel still too cheap. I agree with Cheese. I don't have much Judge, Ohtani, Acuna. That always makes you nervous, but I don't think you have to go there. And if I'm spending up, it is going to be on Corbin Carroll tonight. So there you go. See, TJ's on it, man. TJ's good back there.
Tonight's beast of the night.
There you go. Verdugo and Harris, I like Atlanta. They're down the lineup a little bit, but again, we attack Giolito with these left-handed bats. Both have some pop in their bat. Shouldn't see a ton of ownership. I think there's good value with the Mets in Starling Marte and Tyrone Taylor against the lefty. So that's pretty much the pool for me. I like Arizona, Toronto. George Springer, one of my favorites, so he's in there. The Atlanta cheapies with Verdugo and Harris, and then Marte and Taylor for the Mets. So it's a lot of options, but we're going to narrow it down for the people. Get those complaints sometimes about you guys give too many names. Like, just giving you the guys that we're playing. And Cheese is doing the same. I'm just throwing names out there. These are the guys we like. Sometimes there's 5, 6, 7 outfielders. Sometimes there's 15. But Arizona, Toronto, Mets. That's where I'm going to focus tonight.
Okay, good stuff. The people will want some home run calls. I know that. That is one thing about the people.
Corbin
that are
Carroll.
fairly consistent. Oh, way to steal it.
Well
You
played.
it's his beast of the night.
Well played.
Jeez.
He took advantage of the power wash, and I'm down. I'm kind of
That's like calling
quick.
shotgun when you're in 7th grade and you
My
you
kids
got the
still
friend in
my
high
kids
school
still
who's
do that.
driving and
Jeez.
you,
Shotgun. My
Yeah.
kids still play that game. So okay, he can have Corbin Carroll.
All right, I'll let you think about it a bit. Let's make sure that people have the best deal in the industry. MLB DFS annual option, $425, but we have dropped the price of our Combo Pro to match the price of our MLB product. So you get all the sports for just the price of baseball. And if you do the 6-month package, you're getting content, tools, projections for every sport except NASCAR at a cheaper price than going month by month by month. You actually save 35% by going that route. So I highly recommend you do so. And of course, that would bring you into NFL season, which Cheese is right around the corner. Am I allowed to say that yet?
I don't see it.
When I was saying, maybe a few weeks ago, I told Cheese, NFL's right around the corner. And he was like,
that was like May 7th or something when you said that.
I was a little early on the right around the corner call, but we're getting there now, Cheese. Okay, let's do some home run calls. Since Cheese jumped in and stole one, I am going to let Beer give me the next 3, top, middle, bottom, and see. Maybe he steals a couple from Cheese. I don't know.
I mean, he was quick on that. Like if I was playing Jeopardy with Cheese, I'm in trouble, man. He'd ringing that bell quick. So I will go Matt Olson, around +3. It's seen a +333 out there. Mid-range is going to be George Springer at +500, and I'm going to add another Brave, Harris at +600, kind of the longer shot there. So a couple Braves and Springer at 3, 5, and 6 to 1.
Okay, very good. Yo Mama's Fave in the YouTube says Caminero 3 in a row going to hit a dinger. That's my dude. I think I just like saying his name, but I'm on board with that. That's my guy for today. Cheese, who were your guys?
We'll go with Lars. Lars who?
Bar.
Exactly. And Matt Chapman. And then for something a little cheaper, we will go with Tyler Fitzgerald.
Is that a real person?
Well, we'll find out later.
We think.
Yeah, he's real. He exists.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Unreleased lo-fi music. We're going to get to some QQs, by the way. We've got almost 15 minutes, 13 minutes here until lock. Unreleased lo-fi music as Cheese. Are you mad at me for playing Peterson in FanDuel Cash? Are you mad at him?
No, that's not even moderately bad. I mean, he would be my number 2 cash option. So
okay.
Not mad at all.
Okay. Scrolling up, by the way, I am going to start taking questions in the Discord first. That is the usual way that I go about things, because you should join the RotoGrinders Discord. And if you're not, you're missing out. So I'm starting there in the live stream chat channel. And I will go to Bill's question. Beer, no love for Pozo at catcher?
Pozo.
Is that a real person?
He's in for the Cardinals.
Oh, okay. He is a real person.
He is a real person.
All right.
But I'll let Cheese take that one.
Yeah, Cheese.
Yeah,
no love.
He actually is probably going to be a pretty good hitter. Like he doesn't strike out much. I don't think the power is going to carry over. But like a catcher who's free on a team that can score runs that doesn't strike out. I mean, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Robin says Cheese has 90s Army dad vibes. Cheese, you were not in the Army.
I don't even know what that means.
It's like you would be a
thank
militant. You'd be like a militant dad.
I don't see that at all.
Yeah,
I
mean,
see
like
the opposite.
Yeah, like I understand what my face looks like, but like I'm the exact opposite of that in real life.
Oh God.
Yeah, my face hides the true cheese, as they say.
Oh, that was really well worded. You got me with that, man. All right, let's see. DKGPP Beer. I'm stacking San Francisco and St. Louis. Do you prefer Flores and Scott or Yastrzemski and Contreras?
Probably Yastrzemski and Contreras.
Okay.
It's close.
Yeah. All right. Mark Flores says Beer SP2 on DK. Zebby or just go down to Ortiz?
depends on your risk. Both are risky. So it's, I guess, risk tolerance isn't. I prefer Zebby, to be honest. And I think Ortiz is going to be a lot more popular because it's 6K. It's easy to fit. I get all the bats I want. I'll say Zebby.
He also has the weather risk. Like there's a chance of a delay, right? Ortiz is in Cleveland, correct?
Yep.
So I'm not saying it's a definite delay there, but there's a shot. Let's see. Cheese, final spot in the outfield is from Jay Sams, a one-off. You want Grisham, Carpenter, or Nootbaar?
I really like all three of them, but I want Nootbaar.
Great. Alan says Ozuna or Springer. Cheese, DK, single entry.
Also very much like both of them, but I would go Ozuna.
Okay. I'm going to scroll up in the YouTube. We still have 10 whole minutes until lock. And let's see. We got FanDuel pitchers for cash, a cheapie and a spend up, which you only need one. But your favorite cheapie and spend up FanDuel pitchers, FanDuel cash is the question from Flying Armbar. Cheese, I'll let you handle that.
I mean, you don't need to go cheap. If you did, Zebby's the only thing that qualifies as cheap who's even viable. My favorite is Pavetta. That's the spend up.
Very good. DK Cash question. Beer, that's for you. Peterson or Woo?
It's good on FanDuel. I'm going to stick with Peterson. If the weather concerns you, you're worried about it. I understand that. Very close. I like both guys. Talked about both guys. I'm going to stick with Peterson though.
Peterson is the New York game.
Yeah, it's just such a good matchup. You know, Wu has a good matchup, but Minnesota is much more capable of doing damage than Colorado is. So again, it's what risk tolerance you want to take with the weather. I think you're giving it the okay, but you know, there's could still be some delays and that can mess things up. So how risky do you want to get?
Yeah. So if you missed the weather update in New York, my weather update all day long has been looks good because the forecast models I use look good. But all day people have been telling me this game in New York isn't going to play. And it's because weather.com is showing widespread storms mid-game. And I'm not going to be like, that's impossible. That's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. It's certainly possible. It is a legitimate forecast model. But the models that I use, that I've used for 10 years, that I trust, I think it's mostly dry. So hopefully I am right and weather.com is wrong. Otherwise, I will look like an idiot. Possible. I do that often, but hopefully not the case tonight. Beer, Riley or Paredes in a DK GPP?
I see Paredes on the Spidey bombs, but I like Riley. I like the Braves. So give me Riley.
Okay. Cheese, over to you. DK large field tournament. Would you keep Varsho in a Blue Jays stack? He hasn't been hitting lately.
I mean, if you're full stacking it, sure. Just because no one's going to play Varsho. And he is the 5th best Toronto bat. So sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, thoughts on Miami on FanDuel? Little Miami stack.
I don't think they're necessary on FanDuel. I mean, if you're doing 150, yeah, play Miami. I don't really like it.
Okay. Joey Zaza says, Beer, Matt Olson BVP put to the test tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's both of them have been around forever. So, you know, it's tough to equate the BVP over. They've both been around 10 plus years. So he's got some home runs against them. It's the struggles with lefties that I'm after rather than the BVP.
Yeah. Okay. Right back to you here from our guy, Black Beer, Framber or Pavetta, FanDuel GPP.
I'm going to say Pavetta, but very close.
Okay. Brian C says, Cheese is the type of person that eats whipped cream out of the can and doesn't apologize.
Now that I could see, that makes more sense than the Army thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer the tub to the can, but
Agreed.
I'll just eat whipped cream. Yeah. And who would I apologize to for being awesome?
It's
nobody.
Exactly.
Cheese, Cody making you work a little bit here. Favorite outfielder, 3,500 or cheaper?
3,500?
Yep.
Assume that's DK?
You didn't say, but sure.
It's FanDuel. That's almost everybody. So officially, I don't really like anybody. I think I would say Alec Thomas.
Okay. All right. Very good. Let's see. Julius says, Julius, great name, by the way. Julius says, didn't hear any talk on the A's lefties versus Bassett. What are your thoughts on an A's mini stack or potentially even a game stack?
I don't understand the second half of the question. I mentioned Butler and Soderstrom in the outfield. Like, I have a little bit of interest in those two guys, and that's it. I don't care about stacking them per se. It's just if that's the salary that you're left with, I think Soderstrom and Butler are quite playable.
Okay. Let's see. Anthony says, which are the chalky stacks, Beer? And I think we kind of started off the show by saying there is none, right? Doesn't exist.
I don't see any chalky stacks, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. We Major says, Beer, you like any Tigers lefties on FanDuel?
I always like Kerry Carpenter against righties, so I don't mind that. It's not the greatest matchup in the world, but he's hit so well against righties. Green, both those guys have big numbers against right-handed pitching, so you can play them in almost any matchup. I'm not running to play them, but I could see the argument for both.
Okay. Looks like we got a third.
Old Keith is cheap.
Very good. Looks like we got a third Spidey bomb here, scrolling at the bottom, by the way. You got Paredes, Boba Fett, a.k.a. Boba Fett, and Austin Riley at plus 390 is our third Spidey bomb. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. You can do it for the Spidey bombs. You can do it for two of the OGs. You can do it for the weather reports, but you got to do it. It's free.
Can we do it for weather.com?
No. Unless it works. If the forecast is right and I am wrong, then you can hit the thumbs up for weather.com. Let's see. We got a question in the Discord. Cheese, Cash, Kirk, and Marte, or Pozo and Gurriel Jr.?
I would Kirk and Marte that.
Okay. Beer. DK tournament. Would you keep Framber in a lineup or do the double cheap Ortiz and Matthews and go for bats?
I like the double cheap route here tonight. Just depends on, what bats are you after. If you're spending just to spend to get to Ohtani or Judge, I don't think it makes sense. But if you have a plan and there's teams you like, sure.
Well said. Okay. Jorge Mateo says, Beer, Soderstrom, Yastrzemski, or someone else, 4K or cheaper. It's a DK cash question, and he's already got Carp.
Soderstrom out of that group that he named. Again, I think some of the Mets outfielders are cheap. Some of the Braves outfielders are cheap, or who I prefer, but out of that group, Soderstrom feels a little bit too cheap.
Very good. Cheese, Jerry says, FanDuel cash, Carroll, Vertigo, which is probably Verdugo, or Tout, which is probably Trout, and Springer. So Carroll,
wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of proud of myself for working that out. Carroll, Verdugo, or Trout and Springer, FanDuel cash. And can we play Trout if he's back?
We can, yeah. I like him a little more on FanDuel where he's priced down a bit. But yeah, he's in the pool for sure. But in cash, I would do whichever side gets you to Carroll. So Carroll, Verdugo.
Okay.
The other side will give you a little Vertigo.
Yeah, well, nobody wants that. MT Gaming, Cheese, is Bassett okay in a FanDuel GPP?
He is, yeah.
Okay. Negative Creep says, Roth played Naked Twister in college. It was weather school. What do you think we do? It's the same thing that, it was a good time. I have no regrets. Jimmy says, hey, I missed your Cleveland weather update. There's a chance of a delay in Cleveland. The game will play. We still got a little bit of time here. Give me 1 second. Pulling up the latest radar here. I don't think the chance of a delay is high enough that you should fade pitchers in that game. So if you're playing, there was a cheap pitcher, right? It was a 6K guy in Cleveland.
Yep.
Yeah, 6K.
I'm not going to say there won't be a delay, but I think you stick with it and you play that guy. Favorite Cardinals beer, and would you play the Cardinals pitcher on FanDuel?
I'm out on Liberatore. I think there's too many other options to go that route. I mean, we gave you between us 8, 9, 10 pitchers probably. So favorite Cardinals bats are probably top of the lineup guys: Newpar, Wynn, Donovan. Pozo is a guy I'm learning about here on the fly. So he looks like a cheap catcher play, but I think the top of that lineup is where you want to be.
Okay, very good. We'll go to Eat My Shorts. He says
Wow.
Witt and Perez mini stack cheese against Casey Mize War Eagle.
Yeah, like we always like Bobby Witt, and catcher is mediocre enough that like Perez is priced right near Kirk. So I think at that point, yeah, if you're playing Witt and you're in that price range, yeah, it makes just as much sense to play Perez as anyone else there.
Yeah. Okay. Beer coming to you. Blink 182, always hanging out in the Discord, says large field DK tournament, Tyler Soderstrom or Larry Butler, and is playing Mason Wynn over Bichette being too cute. So first was Soderstrom or Butler, and then is Mason Wynn over Bichette too cute?
I like Soderstrom over Lawrence Butler. We know Larry, but Al Butler.
Right. Maybe they're friends. He calls him
just
the nickname.
busting you up a little bit. What was the second part, Roth?
It was Wynn over Bichette. Is that being too cute? Playing Mason Wynn over Bichette?
No, I prefer Bichette. I don't think it's too cute. Wynn's right there. Again, Bichette, I think it's too cheap. I like the matchup with the lefty, but I don't think you're getting too cute at all.
Okay.
I have a question from the Discord. I can't remember if we've discussed this yet this season. Kevin, you'll know what I'm talking about. Isn't Blink 182 the guy whose avatar was blinking last year?
Yes.
What happened, dude?
Yeah. He had a moving crown or some sort because he won a video game.
Right. So that means he hasn't won in a while.
Yeah. So Blink, we need you to win the video game
Can
again.
you get to work? Like, leave what you're doing now and go play this game so we can see the moving avatar, because that was great.
It was
I have
very
no
cool.
idea what you're talking about, but I want to see it.
He says it was only a 3-month reward.
It was 3 glorious months in the Discord.
You could just win again, and then you'll get another 3 months.
Come on, Blake. Step it up. Let's go.
No pressure, but I'm going to – I hope he goes into training. This is just motivation. If he comes back in like a week and has the avatar, I'll be so freaking proud.
Fires the tiger. And
right.
Man, let's go.
Make it happen. Let's see. Hey, you know what? We did pretty good. And by the way, Blink, release a new album while you're at it, says TJ.
Yes. Agreed.
Got a busy weekend ahead of you.
Okay, that's it. Oh, here we go. FanDuel GPP from R. Berm. Cheese. Marte and Marte or Keith and Acuna. Is Marte and Marte? Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Starling and Cattell.
Starling and Cattell.
Okay.
And then what was the other side?
Colt, Keith, and Acuna.
Oh, that's a really good one. Give me Keith Acuna, but that one's pretty coin tossy.
Okay. And we did get New York's lineup in Grisham, Judge, Belly, Goldie, Rice, Volpe, Wells, Vivas, and Peraza.
Okay, so Rice in for Dominguez. I'm talking to myself because I got to change some things now. But we got time.
Okay, we will let the other folks change some things as well. And we will clear on out of here. It was a wonderful show. Always good hanging out with you guys. And now we get to bounce. So for Cheese and for Beer.
Hold on. We didn't get the Cheese was going to try to get me to do some kind of voiceover, and he didn't get me. So I'm gonna take a victory lap on that.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't know. I just nothing jumped out at
me. We're gonna look ahead at the schedule, and next time we see that Beer is on, I will reach out to Cheese, and we're gonna come together, and we're gonna come with a plan.
I was too focused on making sure we got a newt bar in there, which we did.
Yeah, you did. You hit me with a couple.
Yeah, we'll think of something interesting next time.
Yeah.
Shuttle cakes. There, see, it's all coming back.
There you go.
Yeah. Shuttle cakes.
That is a good way to end it. We're going to clear on out of here. So for Beer, for Cheese, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.